Please remain standing and join in the singing of the Baldwin Wallace University alma mater.
From Tressel Field at Finnie Stadium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, it is the Yellowjackets athletic website on the air, and today OAC action as the Yellowjackets of Baldwin Wallace get ready to take on the Pioneers of Marietta. Hi again, everybody. I'm Adam Mendoza. Thank you for joining us. Joining me in the booth tonight is Cole McDaniel. And Cole, when you look at this matchup for BW, an important game, they're tied for second in the OAC conference. Can't look ahead towards next week's matchup against John Carroll. They've got to take care of business with Marietta right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a team, Marietta, who's actually coming in. They very nearly beat John Carroll in their last game. It came down to the last drive. They were unsuccessful. John Carroll did go on to win, but Marietta is a quality football team. Again, they almost got John Carroll. BW cannot overlook them because it could be them today.
Well, as you look at today's game is the 42nd meeting between the two teams, and the Yellowjackets lead the all-time series with a 35-6 win. And Cole, you look at the way BW played last week. They put up some phenomenal numbers in a big win last week.
They did, and the weather was sloppy. There was a lot of rain. Wilmington actually was up 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, and I don't think by the end of the game you would expect BW to pour on that many points. But even once the backups got in the fourth quarter, they continued to be a team in the backfield. They were wrecking havoc on defense, and they were able to put up big points.
And really, you look at the way BW is playing. Let's talk about some of the key players for the Yellowjackets coming into this afternoon's game.
Yeah, and there's a lot of key players. Obviously, at quarterback, the freshman Keegan Armitage, a huge player as he stepped in as A.J. Miller started the season. Armitage came in as a freshman. He's been calm, composed. He's put up good numbers every week. And the thing is, even if he gets off to a tiny bit of a slow start, he continues to make completions and play well.
Well, to start off the game, as we're looking at the coin toss, Marietta won the toss. They deferred. BW will get the opening kickoff and get that offense in gear. As into this week of OAC action, Mount Union, the number one team in the conference at 6-0. John Carroll and Baldwin Wallace tied at 5-1. Heidelberg and Ohio Northern tied after that 4-2. But then you got Marietta right there in the thick of things at 3-3.
Yeah, and it's a tough conference. I mean, everybody knows that Mount Union's the outlier. They're the team that is going to be up there in the lead, and really nobody's able to beat them. But as for John Carroll and BW and even Marietta up there, it is a tough conference, and they're in a battle, and this should be a really good game here today.
And then when you look at Marietta, they're led by Kyle McSweeney, who comes out of Trinity High School in Garfield Heights. He's completed 134 of 215 passes, only 7 interceptions in a tough conference that really relies on defense. To only throw 7 picks, that shows something about the guy throwing against defenses in this OAC conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're looking at a guy, obviously, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Those are great numbers, and you know he likes to put the ball in the air. Really, both quarterbacks are like that. As Keegan Armitage comes in, 12 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. So I wouldn't expect to see many picks from either team in this one.
Well, you look at the scoring between these two teams. BW comes into this game averaging 38.3 points a game. That's third in the OAC. But right behind them in fifth place is Marietta, averaging 32.4 points a game. So we could see a very high-scoring game.
Yeah, we could for sure. Both defenses are good. They can get in the backfield. They can force some pressure. So if the offensive lines are able to hold strong and keep the pressure away, then we could see a high-scoring game. If not, expect to see a lot of sacks and a lot of pressure.
Josh Kreibel and Ilian Mitchell are back to receive the kick for BW as Marietta has this kickoff, high end-over-end kick. It will be taken inside the 15-yard line by Kreibel as he'll get quickly taken down. Forward progress gets him to the 24-yard line, and that is where BW will start off this ball game.
Yeah, and, really quick, one thing that talked about in some past games, and you, of course, would know it as well. With the new NCAA rules, it's very rare to see somebody not fair catch the ball when it's kicked that deep, because obviously they could bring the ball out without having to run the risk of getting hit with people running at full speed ahead.
It'll be, and it's one of those things that I like in the game of football for sure.
Right.
So it is a 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line for Keegan Armitage and his crew. They'll go with one in the backfield. That's John Murray Jr. Receivers to the right and left. Armitage going to throw on first down. The pass is incomplete as it went in and out of the hands of John Murray Jr., the sophomore out of Cincinnati Withrow High School.
And John Murray Jr., not a guy you usually see catching many balls out of the backfield, but he's a workhorse. You see him on the ground all the time. He had a great game last week. He's put up nearly 600 yards so far this season. He's just an outstanding power horse back.
So it brings up a 2nd down and 10 for the Yellowjackets. Pistol formation as Murray dots the pistol formation. He'll get the handoff up the middle, looking for a hole as he runs to the right side, gets it over the 25. They'll mark him down at the 26-yard line. Murray on the year, 562 yards rushing. He's averaging 4.6 yards a crack, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, and expect to see the Yellowjackets hand the ball off to him plenty. Also, Sean Perry, the backup, he also has shown that he has the ability to run the ball. So watch out for the backfield of the Yellowjackets in this game.
Yellowjackets now with a 2-by-2 set with one in the backfield as they look for a long 3rd down situation. 40% on 3rd down completions. Armitage almost picked off as that one almost got into the hands of Vic Javengo.
And right there, Armitage was looking down his receiver, and it was well read by the linebackers, and that's exactly the defensive drive that Marietta wanted to start this game coming in here to Finnie Stadium.
Well, Marietta defensively, when you look at their pass defense, they're 5th in the conference, just allowing 217 yards, and that'll bring out the punt unit. Jay Hoff will be back at about his 12-yard line. And back to receive for Marietta is Austin Veach. On 4th down, good snap. Kick is away. Good high end-over-end kick. Veach gets it at the 40, and he makes the fair catch. And so BW comes out their first possession, not able to move anything. Let's see what the defense for the Yellowjackets can do against Kyle McSweeney and company for Marietta.
And the Yellowjackets started slow last week versus Wilmington, as I mentioned earlier. So it's not something that's new for the Yellowjackets. They've had some slow starts and been able to turn it on late. Again, Marietta also a quality team coming in here. Now Marietta has good field position as they get their first drive.
McSweeney is your quarterback out of Independence, Ohio. And they give the handoff to Tanner Clark, and he gets dropped for a loss. Good play there on the defense. Noah Jackson, one of those players for the Yellowjackets, coming in to make the stop.
That's one of the strengths of the defense for the Yellowjackets is that defensive line. They have, they're not the biggest defensive line, but they've got a lot of speed. They can get in the backfield. They can stop the run and expect the quarterback to be pressured.
CQ, Amani, Metz, Orocho, and Jackson up front for the Yellowjackets, trying to cause some problems as Barker goes in motion to the far side of the field. McSweeney on a play action, looking for him right out of the backfield. There's a first down as he brings it all the way down to the 30-yard line of BW as Elijah Green makes the stop for the Yellowjackets.
And that's well done by McSweeney to stand in there. The pressure was coming. He released it quickly right up the middle, and that's a big gain for Marietta.
32 yards on the pickup as they bring it down to the BW 30-yard line. And really, he came in motion, and he was just eyeing Andrew Barker right there. His 26th reception of the year. 1st and 10, ball spotted at the BW 30, and no way is Tanner Clark going anywhere as Sekou Amani just blew up that play.
And I would argue Sekou Amani is the most productive, the most talented player on that defense. He's a guy who's very talented. He's got great speed at defensive end, and he had some injury issues last year, and it hurt the Yellowjackets to not have him. This year, he has been fantastic.
7.5 tackles for losses after that one. 6'2", 230 out of Dover. Brings up 2nd and 15 after a loss of 5 on the play. McSweeney. Play action again. Quickly hits it to Andrew Barker for his 2nd catch of the ball game.
And that's well done by Marietta to take the loss and then just start chipping away and getting some yards back. It sets up a very manageable 3rd down now.
11:50 remaining in this opening quarter as the Yellowjackets trying to slow down this Marietta Pioneer offense. 5th in the conference in scoring. McSweeney now will have Tanner Clark to his left. They'll bring one in motion to the near side. 2-by-1 set. Handoff goes to Clark. Clark gets wrapped up quickly just shy of the 25-yard line as Taino Orocho comes in to make the stop.
And right there, I think it was a situation where Marietta was playing for 4 downs, and they're going to keep the offense on the field, and we'll see if the Yellowjackets can hold strong.
4th down and 5 now for the Pioneers as they throw the ball, and that one is broken up on a good defensive play by Jack Bauer as the pass goes incomplete and each team's defense holds serve.
Yeah, and you saw McSweeney was looking for his tight end up the middle. He was staring him down the whole way, and Bauer came down from his safety position, and he read that perfectly, and the Yellowjackets escaped right there. Well done by the defense.
So now let's see what the Yellowjackets could do. A little bit better starting position for Keegan Armitage and company. As we said, they're 3rd in the OAC in scoring. They're 6th in rushing with 158 yards, but 4th in passing at 261 yards a game. Armitage, the freshman out of Ashland, awaiting the snap as he puts one in motion. They're going to hand the ball off to Murray. Murray trying to churn his legs to the 30-yard line, and he fights his way for that extra yardage or 2.
Yeah, and that's what I like to see on that first drive. Obviously, Murray did not get the carry on 1st down. There he did, and he's a guy who he just always keeps his legs moving and churning, and he's a guy who very rarely goes backwards, usually falls forward and gains some extra yards.
A pickup of 6 on the play, 6 hard yards. I think he actually got 4, and then he picked up 3 yards extra on a second effort. 2nd and 4 at the 31, 2 in the backfield. They're going to hand one off to Ian Mitchell as they'll go, should get the 1st down, it looks like, depending on the spot of the football.
And one thing with the Yellowjackets is they have small, quick receivers. A lot of those guys would, usually be considered slot receivers, but because of that, they can do a lot of end arounds, reverses, a lot of things that are tricky. So they have the ability to run up the middle, but also look for those runs and quick pitches going around.
And it's nice when you can put one of your slot receivers in the backfield. It just really diversifies and opens up the offense a whole lot. 1st and 10 now for the Yellowjackets as they're on the move in their 2nd possession of the game. Little swing pass to Murray. Murray cuts up to the 40-yard line, fights his way to the BW 45, and boy, it's just very simple offense, just really relaxed getting the passes out there.
Yeah, that's one thing I love for the offense for the Yellowjackets. In Armitage, it gives him time to get settled into a game, start picking up his completions, and then they can go deep later on.
7 on the pickup for that play as BW will go with 3 receivers on the near side. 1 on the far right side, that's Mitchell. They're getting their signal from their offensive coordinator, Coach Jim Hilvert, in his 3rd season over at BW, as Armitage looks for the snap, gets it over to, nope, it's a pass play, and they get it right over midfield as it is caught, and into Marietta territory is number 6, Schneider Burkhardt.
And again, well done by the Yellowjackets. Continue to just chip away. You don't need to go deep right away. You can just take some time, get comfortable in the offense, and continue to move the ball.
1st and 10 as the Yellowjackets in Marietta territory. They put 4 to the right, looking for a quick slant, and in and out of the hands of Mitchell as he was open. The pass was right there, just could not bring that one in.
Yeah, and the pass was a little lower than I think Mitchell would have liked it, but still one that he should have definitely pulled in. You saw that as soon as he got his hands on it, he might have turned and looked to his left and tried to run before he hauled it in, and just a missed opportunity there for the Yellowjackets.
Mitchell on the year, 29 catches for 566 yards. So as the Yellowjackets now, with 8:43 remaining in the opening quarter, 2nd and 10, as they put one in motion. Greer, ball's fumbled, and it's going to be picked up by Marietta. Drake Newberger comes in with the fumble recovery as the mishandle of the snap goes all bad for BW, and Marietta comes up with it.
And we've seen that from some past games for the Yellowjackets as they've kind of shot themselves in the foot in the first half, caused some issues for themselves and beating themselves, especially in the first quarter. And right there, first you see a drop and then you see the fumble, and it comes back to Marietta. So it's just important for the defense now to step on the field and make sure Marietta doesn't put up points.
Well, the defense of Marietta comes up with a turnover. Let's see what the Yellowjacket defense can do as McSweeney and company are out. They have an H-back to the near side as they give it to Tanner Clark, and Clark is going to go right back to the line of scrimmage. Nothing going there for him as the Yellowjacket lineup just coming in and making the stop.
And despite the issues the offense has had maybe in the first quarter and some past games, the defense has held strong. They've made sure that even if they've gone down, it's been a very close game and kept them in a good position.
Marietta in their road white uniforms with the silver numbers and the white helmet going left to right. As McSweeney looks, steps up, heavy rush. He's going to find a receiver, and in and out of the hands, trying to extend his body all the way as Ryan Van Meter out of Marysville just could not haul that in.
And Van Meter was open, and McSweeney just overthrew him a little bit, but Van Meter, a great effort, almost hauled in that one-handed catch. Just the contact with the ground forced the drop, and the Yellowjackets a little fortunate that McSweeney was high there.
Calm, cool, and collective McSweeney was on that play. As we said, he's thrown the ball for over 1,500 yards, 19 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, 62% completion rate. 3rd down and 10 now for the Yellowjackets. They bring one in motion. That's Justin Bell. They're going to look to throw. Here comes the heavy rush. He fires, and the ball was knocked out. They're going to say it's an incompleted pass, but we have a flag thrown back at the Marietta 45-yard line. Holding is the initial call from Wes Davis, our referee. Scott Moon is the umpire. The head linesman is Bob Motter. Adam Lamos is the line judge.
Holding. Offense, number 52. 10-yard penalty. That penalty will be declined. 4th down.
Adam Barnes will be the field judge. Todd Sarver is the side judge, and Josh Fritz is the back judge.
Right there, it was a situation where McSweeney, his arm got hit. He was just going forward enough that they ruled it an incompletion, but again, the holding does not help Marietta at all, and the Yellowjackets stand strong once again.
Mitchell is back to receive the punt. Off the side of the foot, a wobbler, but it'll take a Marietta roll, and Mitchell's going to run it, trying to outrun the defense. He fumbles the football, and it's picked up ahead at the 32-yard line by Jordan Johnson. He was Johnny on the spot right there. That could have been disastrous for the Yellowjackets.
Yeah, and I know Mitchell's quick and elusive, but I think that's the wrong decision to try to pick that up and run, especially when he had 5 white jerseys around him. And off of that fumble, very fortunate that it went straight to Jordan Johnson, but Jordan Johnson took a lick off of that, but he saved the Yellowjackets and they were able to keep the ball.
47 degrees here, game time, overcast skies in Berea, Ohio, as this OAC matchup between BW and Marietta, the defenses have been the name of the game so far. Both of them doing very, very well in keeping these high-powered offenses in check.
Yeah, absolutely, and we have plenty of game left to go. As we said, both of these teams put up some pretty big points, so we'll see how, obviously, the second quarter and on goes, but this first quarter has really been, you can see a little bit of the feel-out period, as well as just the defense really standing strong when mistakes have been made.
So the officials are having a powwow over at the 15-yard line. So with 7:39 remaining in this first quarter, no score, as the officials still, I don't know if they're trying to figure out the fumble and the placement of the fumble, or they're going to say that the runner was down at the 21.
We have correction on the field. The forward fumble can be recovered and advanced by a kicking team member. First down, Baldwin Wallace.
So the ball was able to be moved forward, and it'll be BW at the 32. They wanted a double check on that.
32-yard line.
And so BW will get it at the 32. Really almost an 11-yard gain on that. 1:10 or 7:39 remaining, 1st and 10 now for BW. Armitage gets the snap once again, gets it to his running back. Not a whole lot there as Newberger comes in to make the tackle. Sean Perry on the run out of Clearwater, Florida. Last week he had 65 yards against Wilmington.
Yeah, and Perry's a guy who, at the beginning of the season, maybe didn't get as many reps, and John Murray Jr. did have an injury at one point, and Perry stepped in, and Perry shows that he has a little bit more speed, not quite as much of a power back, but he is very effective as well.
Gain of 2 on that last play. Greer comes in motion. Now he's in the slot. Again, they'll give it to Perry, and Perry does not go a whole lot further as Carson Stauffer comes in to make the stop for the Pioneers of Marietta.
Well, and I think you're seeing the ability and the size of the Marietta defensive line at plugging the holes, and the linebackers are not afraid to come up and put their noses in there for the run-stopping ability, and Yellowjackets are going to have to go to the air.
Brings up a 3rd down and 7 now for BW. On 3rd down, the Yellowjackets 0 for 1. Keegan Armitage, the freshman out of Ashland, has one in motion. That's Greer. Looks to the far side, now looks for the screen. Tried to get it to Sean Perry. Goes incomplete. Heavy rush being put on by the Pioneers. And on that charge was Kyle Gallagher.
And we knew they wouldn't be, but they continue to prove it. Marietta not afraid coming in here to the Yellowjackets home field, and obviously they had a tough loss last week, but they gave John Carroll a run for their money, and you had to expect that they'd try to do the same with the Yellowjackets this week.
Dean Saris back to kick the football. He's standing at his own 20-yard line to get this one away, and he sends a nice driving kick. It'll be picked up at the 27-yard line, bringing it out to the 34, and on the return was Austin Veach, and Marietta once again. So this game has basically been played between the 30s.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, neither team's gotten into the red zone. Maybe the best opportunity was when Marietta got down, and the Yellowjackets held strong on 4th down, but neither team able to really threaten yet on offense.
So as McSweeney and company come out in their pistol formation, they'll go with 2 wide receivers to the near side. Now they bring Van Meter in motion. And again, they give it to Tanner Clark, and Clark picks up maybe about a half yard. Boy, these defensive fronts are just swarming after the ball.
They absolutely are, and you see both teams are really trying to establish the run, and the defenses are keying on it. You see the linebackers coming up in, and they're really getting their noses in there, and they're stopping the run, and neither team really having that much success yet in getting big yardage.
5:32 remaining in the opening quarter as Marietta on another possession trying to move the football. As we said, this game being played in between the 30s. Giovengo in there. Now they give the ball to Tanner Clark on the run. He'll get it over the 40 to the 41.
Tanner Clark, the ball carrier.
Coming in on the stop for the Yellow Jackets is Brenton Miller out of Carrollton. He comes into the game with 29 tackles.
Official time on the field, injury.
33.
Official timeout on the field as they tend to the down Pioneer over at the 38-yard line. Just to say that today's Yellow Jackets football game is brought to you by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. Papa John's Pizza in Berea, the official pizza provider of BW Athletics. You can call them at 440-891-1900 or go online at papajohns.com. Adam Mendoza and Cole McDaniel here at Tressel Field. And Cole, your initial thoughts, we've talked about the defense early on here in the first 10 minutes or so of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think coming into the game, I've known how in past games, especially at the Wilmington game, you would have never expected after being down 3-0 at the end of the first quarter that the Yellow Jackets would go on to win 72-3. But that's how it's been. They've had some issues with having false starts and some fumbles and just some little things in the first quarter, but I expect them to turn it around. But that defense is aggressive. They will blitz, and they're really going to get in the backfield. 3rd down and 3 for the Pioneers.
McSweeney looking to throw, looking off one receiver. Now he tucks it. He picks up the first down as he really gets into the second level of BW's defense, and he brings it all the way down to about the 37-yard line. Was not able to find a receiver open. The middle was open, and he went right through for a big gainer.
And McSweeney, you could see that he was scanning the field. It was well done by the secondary to cover all of his wide receivers. His tight end also leaking out as well. But McSweeney, then you could tell that the internal clock went off. He went off on the scramble and picked up a big gain.
Brings up a big 1st down and 10 for the Marietta Pioneers as McSweeney on the year has just one rushing touchdown. Now the handoff goes as McSweeney now runs it again. Nothing much for him. A gain, maybe about a half yard on the play.
And really the last time we've seen Marietta get down close to this territory, the Yellow Jackets were able to hold strong. This is, again, still about 4 down territory for Marietta. So, if they don't make it on 2nd and 3rd down, expect them to stay out there with the offense on 4th.
35 yards in total offense at the moment for Marietta as they go with a 3-by-1 set on a 2nd down and 10 at the BW 38. On the draw, they give it to Tanner Clark, and not a whole lot there as Nick Pankow comes in to make the stop for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, and Sekou Amani right there, he was getting blocked, and he turned and saw the running back going by him, and he was able to pull him down as well. So well done by the defensive line to keep their head on a swivel and make the tackle.
Bobby Cashaw checking in now for the Pioneers. He'll be that tight end to the near side of the field. 2-by-1 set for McSweeney and company. The senior awaits the snap. Play action fake. Is going to go long. Has a man, but in double coverage, and it goes incomplete. That pass intended for Andrew Barker at 6'3" out of Mogador.
And you see why McSweeney was going deep in that situation. He had a big target out there, but it was into double coverage. It would have been hard. He would have really had to have put it on the money for that to result in anything. And the Yellow Jackets, honestly, were able to hold strong and also not let Marietta pick up any yards. So Marietta is going to have to actually play the field position game and going to punt rather than go for it.
Punting unit out there for the Pioneers. A little pooch kick to the near side. Fair catch is called for, goes into the end zone, and BW will have it out at their 20-yard line as we have 2:52 remaining in the opening quarter. Still no score in this game.
Yeah, coming out in this drive, I like the establishing the run side of things. Obviously, you want to get John Murray going I think it's one of those situations, though. You've seen Marietta's linebackers coming up. They're in the box tight. They're expecting the run up the middle. So this is time when you look towards the jet sweep. You try to get something to spread it out width-wise and try to hit the outside.
So it brings up a 1st and 10 for the Yellowjackets in their home brown uniforms with the white helmets and the gold pants. They're going right to left as there'll be 2 in the backfield. And they'll split out Greer to the far side, inside handoff. On a nice run right there for the Yellowjackets is Sean Perry. He'll pick up 9 yards on the run.
That's a great read from Perry. You saw he was looking to bounce it, and then he saw that opening right between the right guard and left tackle. He hit it, gained a good yardage.
Perry has run the ball very well in the last 3 games. He's rushed for 216 yards. Now the pass quickly on the outside. It is caught by Stokes, breaks away from a tackle, gets down to the 42-yard line on a nice pickup there. Darius Stokes out of Canton Glen Oak comes into this matchup, 15 catches for 204 yards. Again, BW quickly back to the line of scrimmage on the jet sweep to Greer. Greer breaks out of a tackle, breaks out of 2, but loses 4 yards on the play.
And Greer's shifty, I think it was one of those situations too where the edge got set, and it was well done by Marietta, and he tried to cut back and he tried to make the move, but he was able to be wrapped up and just pulled down. If Greer was able to miss that last tackler, he might have been able to come back around to the left-hand side.
A very long 2nd down and 14 here for the Yellowjackets. Slot to the right side, 2 receivers on the near side. Play action fake for Armitage. He's going to go long. He's got a receiver open, and it is caught there at the 10, and it's going to be a touchdown as they get that to Mitchell for the big score.
And you knew it was coming. The Yellowjackets started off with the short passes, getting Armitage comfortable, just also pulling in Marietta as well with the running, and then that's all they needed. They've got the speed to go deep. They did it. They found Mitchell right down the seam, and that was well done, put right on the money by Armitage.
61 yards on the pass play for the touchdown as BW goes up 6-0, and they're looking to make it 7 as Saris getting ready for the extra point. Snap, set, kick is away, it is up, and that one is through. 1:24 remaining in the opening quarter. What a beautiful pass play right there from Keegan Armitage to Mitchell, the junior out of Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, it was a great play call, and Armitage read it the whole way, and Mitchell got an early break and got behind the defense, and that's exactly what the Yellowjackets needed. Obviously, the defense has been strong, but to win a game, you need to put up points, and to put up 7 here in this first quarter is pretty crucial against this Marietta team.
So the Yellowjackets go up on top early here as with a 7-0 lead, and Armitage on the year has thrown for over 1,000 yards. That's his 13th touchdown of the season. And when you saw that play develop, I mean, it was a double coverage on Mitchell, and he went right through that double coverage, and the ball was placed perfectly into his arms.
Yeah, absolutely, and you just saw the speed of Mitchell, and earlier he had the fumble off of the punt, and fortunately for the Yellowjackets, they were able to keep it, but he just redeemed himself with that big touchdown.
So BW will get ready to kick the ball away. We still have 1:24 remaining in the contest as Sarah sends this one high and deep, and it goes into the end zone and through the end zone as Marietta lets that one fly through, and a good kick there by Saris to try to pin Marietta back as Kyle McSweeney and company getting ready once again.
And I'd expect Marietta to try to go to the air again a little bit more. You saw the Yellowjackets just have success with it, and it's obviously not time to panic if you're Marietta. You've got a lot of game left, but you haven't really moved the ball too much on the Yellowjackets lately, so maybe let McSweeney air it out, get his confidence as well. 1:24
remaining in the opening quarter as the Yellowjackets lead. McSweeney fires the pass. It is caught at the 31-yard line. And there on the coverage for the Yellowjackets is Brenton Miller as the catch was made.
McSweeney finds Robert Nelson with completion.
Nelson on the catch. Nelson on the year.
Miller with
19 catches for 245 yards. He also has 2 touchdowns on the year. Rain starting to fall here at Tressel Field as the umbrella is starting to pop up. And McSweeney is going to look to throw. Once again, fires underneath to Andrew Barker, and he's swarmed by a couple of Yellow Jacket defenders, and he'll be a yard shy as they'll mark the ball at the 34-yard line. No huddle offense now as they quickly go with 30 seconds. Tanner Clark gets it left side, trying to find that first down marker. They're going to give him the first down as he crosses the 35 to the 36.
Yeah, and you continue to see that these two teams play very different offenses. The Yellow Jackets have much smaller receivers. They're quick, they're shifty. You just see the size of Marietta, and they use a lot more of their tight ends as well in the pass game too. And right there, they were keeping it compact and tight. Were able to get that first down and move the chains as well.
When you have a couple of guys going 6'1", 6'3", and 6'3" as your receivers, there's the difference. But I think you hit it. You hit the nail on the head right there. The small receivers, speedy, shifty, that can make the difference. And if you get that quarterback to get the ball to him, that can make all the difference in the world. Marietta's kind of built for that ground and pound type of offense. You don't see them go long very. You see them go with that 10 to 15-yard intermediate pass. So it brings up 1st and 10 with 24 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. In motion is Cashaw. High snap brought down. Luckily, the back gets it. That was number 24. Or number 27, that's Kyle Folkert. And boy, that could have been disastrous.
Yeah, it could have been very disastrous. Marietta very fortunate that they were able to pull in the snap, hand it off, and just take a loss in that situation.
So we've played 1 quarter of football in a very fast-paced first quarter of football here at Tressel Field. 7-0 as BW leads this one. And just a reminder that today's game is being brought to you by the Oswald Company for all of your insurance and risk management needs. Also by Jimmy John's in Middleburg Heights. We're freaky fast, so your sandwich arrives freaky fresh. Call us at 440-625-0745, or you can go online at jimmyjohns.com. 1 quarter in the books.
Hi, I'm Christy Conrad, BW class of 2007.
And the Yellow Jackets with a 7-0 lead. And Cole, we talked about offense not getting a whole lot. The defense just really one big play in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Yellow Jackets, of course, the team that had the big play, and I think they're obviously ecstatic about that. But I wouldn't expect Marietta to go a full game without having a big play. There will be those situations, but the Yellow Jackets defense really not allowing that at all through the first quarter.
No, not at all, as McSweeney on a play action being chased. He gets hounded, and he gets taken down on the play by Sekou Amani. As, boy, he just brushed off his offensive lineman and just came in to make the big tackle.
Yeah, and Sekou Amani, a guy who has been offensive tackle's worst nightmare here in the OAC this year. He's been getting in the backfield, and not only does he have size and strength, but it's that speed, and his speed to bounce off to the outside and get in the backfield.
We'll give him another credit for a tackle for a loss. That gives him 2 in the ball game. 3rd down and 14 after a loss of 4. Again, heavy rush. Amani goes in, and the pass is caught by Clark on a swing pass. And the tackle out of bounds being made by Aocho. And boy, you saw them set up the screen very nicely because Amani was right there in the face of McSweeney.
Right, and I think the Yellow Jackets will take that all day, that they're able to stay back, they're keeping everything underneath, and really then they're crashing around the ball, and Marietta is not able to pick up these first downs in longer down-to-go situations.
They'll have the punt right now as it will be taken, and a fair catch, and
Mitchell with fair
Boy, that
catch.
could have been a penalty, and it should have been a penalty with the influence of the halo.
Yeah, it certainly could have been. I think it's one of those situations where, I don't know, maybe they kept it in their pockets because he backed off and didn't actually go for the tackle. But still, if somebody calls for a fair catch, you're not even supposed to wrap them up.
Right.
So I think they were very merciful with Marietta in that situation.
Well, the rain is really starting to come down here at Tressel Field as the Yellowjackets will have the football, and right now they lead it 7-0. Yellowjackets getting their play. They've got two in the backfield. It'll be Sean Perry and John Murray. As the handoff goes to John Murray once again, he'll pick up 3 yards on the play.
The right side.
Murray in the game so far.
Gain of
3
4,
rushes for 12 yards. BW in that first quarter, 108 yards in total offense, 74 for Marietta.
Yeah, and most of the yardage for the Yellowjackets coming on that one pass play that went for a touchdown as well.
That one went for 61 yards. Armitage looking play action, looking up the middle, steps up in the pocket. He's going to run. He'll slide back to the line of scrimmage. There were 3 to 4 white jerseys right there, and he says, I'm going to hit the turf.
Yeah, an Armitage, a guy who can scramble when need be, but he's not really known for being a runner, so well done by the freshman quarterback to really save his own life and get down and not take the big hit.
He has rushed the ball for 60 yards this year, averaging 2.9 yards a carry. Last week against Wilmington, he threw for 250 yards. His high this year, 310 against Capital. He can sling the pigskin. 12:25 remaining, first half. BW up by 7. Armitage looking to throw, steps out of the pocket. Little swing pass, overthrows the intended receiver, Edwin Velasquez.
Pass intended
And when you look
for
at the
Velasquez.
starting roster,
It's 4th and 7.
so many kids coming out of the Florida area, and that's where that speed is coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, every part of the country has their different type of game. Obviously, as you said, like the Florida area, a lot of speed. You know, Ohio's known as more of that hard-nosed, gritty football. Sure, you see some fast guys, but it's a very different brand, a very different style.
Hoff getting ready to kick make that Saris high kick. And it'll be picked up by Veach at the 31, 32-yard line. And so BW and Marietta trading some punts, and just another defensive stand by either of these teams. And right now, it was a lapse on the defense of Marietta that has led to the BW Yellowjackets with a 7-0 lead after a big 61-yard touchdown pass. So the Pioneers coming out. They'll load the near side of the field with 3 receivers. They'll put Giovengo in motion to the far side. McSweeney looking at the play clock as it is down to 7 seconds. Clock down to 4-3, gets the snap off. Clark gets the handoff to the right side. He'll pick up a yard on the play. They'll mark him at about the 35-yard line.
And I know it's raining. I know that sometimes you have to play a little more conservative when there's some rain. The ball gets slippery and you got to keep it on the ground. But I think Marietta really needs to look to spread the field because it's so congested in the middle.
And that they do as McSweeney looking to throw a quick flare out. The catch is made by Andrew Barker. That's his 3rd catch of the ball game. And boy, he eyed him right out of that snap.
With the fence.
Well, and Barker, a guy who
Placed good for the Pioneer first
they enjoy
down.
targeting because he's 6'3". He's a big target. And right there he showed it.
Parker now with 4 catches in the game. On the last play, they tried to get that to Van Meter, and that goes out of play.
2nd and 10.
2nd and 10 now for the Pioneers. As we said, they are 5th in the OAC. Their passing offense averaging 235 yards. That is number 5 in the Ohio Athletic Conference. And when you look at their total offensive yards, McSweeney is has 1,550 total yards, either run or pass, averaging 221 a game in total offense. Fires another quick hitter, that time. Fumbled football, Veach. BW is gonna get it. Had the pass complete, and the fumble is picked up by Dominic Bowman.
Yeah, and one thing that was outstanding there is the ball was caught by Veach. You saw Bowman come behind. He punched out from behind as Veach was going to the ground. That forced the fumble, and Yellowjackets able to fall on it. And again, the defense keeps coming up huge. Even though the offense hasn't put a ton of points on the board yet, that defense is relentless.
One thing you're seeing a lot of defenses, not only on the college level, but in the professional level, that punch out of the ball. You don't see it as much in the high school level, but when you get up to college, boy, they're really starting to try to punch that ball out of the receivers or the runner's hands. So 11:26 to go, BW with the lead, and they get the ball off the turnover. Armitage swings it out, gets it to Greer. Greer looks for a downfield block, tries to slip through two, and he gets into Marietta territory at the 48-yard line.
And I'd keep an eye on Armitage. He got hit late, and he's a little slow getting up and hobbling around. And I'd expect as he tries to get his composure back, they go to the ground game and let him feel better after a couple seconds after the hit.
Ball on the near side hash mark as they pick up 4 on that play. Armitage looking over to the near sideline as they get that call from the coaches with 15 on the play clock. They have been effective in trying to really run and pass the ball this afternoon. 3 receivers out on the one side. It's going to be Armitage keeping it, fighting his way to the 35 and the 34-yard line. That'll leave him shy of about a yard for the first down.
That was a great read by Armitage. He wanted to hand it off to Murray. You saw that the whole defense collapsed on Murray. He pulled it back and was able to pick up a couple yards, because if he handed it off to Murray, that probably would have went for a loss.
Personal foul,
face masking.
Number 95. T.R. Charleston in the run.
Kyle Gallagher, the offender, the junior and former West Geauga Wolverine out of Chesterland. And so BW now sitting real pretty at the 29-yard line. 10:28 to go in the opening half. BW with a 7-zip lead. They swing one out. That's Murray in motion. They go to the near side. Great catch, great open field tackle made by Kyler Folkert as they just get maybe about a half yard on the play. BW set that play up nicely, trying to get the flow to the far side of the field and come back to the near side, but Folkert comes up, the linebacker, does a very nice job of reading it.
And the Yellowjackets, they're great with screens. They're good at getting it out. My favorite for the wide receiver screen is when they have 3 wide receivers out there blocking for them, because that means the blockers are already there in position right there. Well done by Marietta just to be in place and make the tackle before the offensive lineman could pull across.
And then the biggest key, as long as your offensive receivers don't hold. They always, you'll see that every so often, but, they'll be the ones saying, oh, I don't hold. Player down on the field for Marietta is the nose tackle, Jesse Berzonski, out of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. Walking off on his own power, which is a good sign to see.
Isn't that the thing from all defensive players, like guys who used to play, former defensive players say there was holding on like every play. Yeah. It's just a matter of if it was called or not.
Right. And if you really look at, if you were to look at game film and watch every play, yeah, there is holding almost on every play, but there's the incidental holding, and then there's the most obvious.
The blatant ones.
Yes. So now after the stoppage in play, the Yellowjackets will have a 2nd and 10 at the Marietta 39-yard line. They'll go with a 3-by-1 set with 1 in the backfield. Now they go Wildcat formation as Mitchell cannot get anywhere, and he gets back to the 30-yard line. He's going to lose a yard on the play.
And I like the idea to put Mitchell back there with the direct snap and let him run. I would have wished that Mitchell would have read that, because there wasn't really an opening for him in the middle. If he would have bounced it to the outside, he might have had a chance to pick up more yardage.
Armitage comes back. He'll be the quarterback on this play. 9:31 remaining in the opening half. John Murray Jr. in the sidecar to the left. Little shovel pass, ball's fumbled, and it's going to be picked up. They're going to say it's an incompleted pass on the shovel pass they were trying to get over to Dion Greer.
Yeah, and that's one that you don't usually see from the Yellowjackets go incomplete. They usually haven't had any issues with that type of a play. They run it all the time. I do think the pitch came a little bit late and it was a little behind Greer, and Greer tried to reach back and make something happen, just could not get his hands on the ball well.
Thank goodness it wasn't a defensive player coming in to make that interception. We kind of saw that last week from another team in town. 7-0 BW. Armitage looking to throw, looking right now, looking to the left side, out of the pocket, lots of room, gets out, has a block, downfield block to the 25, tiptoes to the 22-yard line. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 21. It'll be a gain of 9 on the play. He tried to check down every receiver, couldn't find it, then was able to run. And Cole, really, you know what you got to credit that time? That offensive line, no holding. When you get a play that develops that long and keeps on going, that's where you'll get that holding call.
Right, and that's where the longer a play takes, that's sometimes where the offensive line has to make their decision. Hey, do I let the guy go and get into my quarterback, or do I grab him and try to save him? There, the offensive line was disciplined. Armitage got out, and although they didn't pick up the first down, they at least set up better field position on their defensive standpoint.
Almost as good as a punt going into the end zone that time. So they were just a yard shy as McSweeney fires across the way, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Giovengo.
Giovengo, the intended receiver.
Out of Benwood, West Virginia, not able to come up with the catch.
Miller,
one of the players you got to really look out for, not only is Barker, but Ryan Van Meter out of Marysville. 296 reception yards for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and they've looked for him a couple times. A lot of their throws, they've gone on the deeper side or those middle routes a couple times. A lot have been overthrown, but pretty much everything's been underneath. I'm just waiting for them to finally take that deep shot.
9:01 remaining in the opening half. McSweeney is pulled out of the pocket, and coming in is Jake Schrock out of Gloucester, Massachusetts, and he comes in with a sack. And for Schrock, that is his first sack of the year.
Yeah, and although that is the first sack for Jake Schrock, he's a guy who still has been in the backfield and been disruptive. He's also been great against the ground game as well. So outstanding to see the senior get his first sack on the season. But, you know, there are guys who things don't show up on the stat sheet, and they still do a lot productively.
How disruptive was he? He tore the sleeve of McSweeney's left arm, and he had to take the remainder of the sleeve off on his long sleeve shirt. Now he'll step up. He gets hit. He's going to go down. Orocho comes in. 2 sacks in a row for the BW Yellowjackets as they swarm McSweeney.
And that's one I just mentioned. That won't show up on the stat sheet for Jake Schrock, but if you watch the film back on that, Schrock forced McSweeney to step up. McSweeney stepped up right into the path of Tayono Orocho, and there's another huge sack for the Yellowjackets.
And that really pushes Marietta back, and so the defense of the Yellowjackets really starting to come on even stronger and finding ways to slow down this Marietta team. Now they're forced to punt, and their punter is 7 yards deep into the end zone with a good snap. High end-over-end kick. Fair catch is made inside Marietta territory, and the Yellowjackets will have very good field position on this start, but they're up 7-0 basically on a 61-yard play. You take that out of the equation, the offenses haven't really been moving.
No, you haven't really seen the Yellowjackets do much when they've passed the 50 as well. You saw Marietta in the first quarter. They struggled with that. Since then, they haven't really passed the 50 at all. For the Yellowjackets, they just had a turnover on downs on 4th down, and sure, the defense put them in a great position, but as you mentioned, the only touchdown so far for the Yellowjackets was a big play. So we'll see if they can, one, kill the clock a little bit, but also put up points on the board.
7:23 remaining in the first half of play. Murray to the left of Armitage out of the shotgun formation. They'll bring Greer in motion to the near side. They're going to load 3. He steps up in the pocket. Armitage is looking to run, and he gets taken down as he gets to the 40-yard line on the tackle.
Stop by Drake, Newberger.
Newberger comes in to make the stop.
Gain of a couple, 2nd and 8.
And although you'd like to see any ball carrier tuck it into his body and make sure that the ball is protected and safe, that was clever from Armitage as he had to step to the side. He switched it over to his left hand, and then when he started to run, he put it back in and tucked it.
2nd down and 8 after a gain of 2 on the play. It's a 2-by-2 set for the Yellowjackets. Armitage will have 1 in the backfield. That's Murray. He'll get the handoff. He'll fight his way to the 35-yard line. He'll pick up a few yards. They'll still be shy on 3rd down. 6:30 and counting here as the rain continues to fall at Tressel Field.
And the Yellowjackets offense, really an offense that can switch up pace a lot. They can go with that no huddle, that hurry up, and they can go quick. They can also, in a situation like this, really slow it down, and they're taking their time right now. They're letting plenty of time run off the play clock, and it's a situation where they're just trying to put up points right before the end of the half.
That play clock is down to 5. Snap at 3. Murray getting the handoff, and he'll pick up a yard on the play as he gets it to the 35-yard line.
Murray with the carry, brought down by 95, Kyle Gallagher.
And I think with the way your defense is played, and you're kind of in that no man's territory where you're kind of in between, this is one where 4th and 3, why not go for it? Your defense is held strong until they prove anything differently. I think you try to pick up the yardage here.
The last time on 4th down, the Yellowjackets failed to get that first down, just short of a yard. 4th and 3 at the 32 or 35-yard line of Marietta. Can they keep the drive alive as they bring 1 in motion? And we have a timeout called by Coach Jim Hilvert as BW calls that timeout here with 5:16 remaining in the first half of play. They call the timeout on a big 4th down conversion try.
Well, it is a big one. I think it's a situation where obviously you'd love to keep putting up some more points. We mentioned running down the clock. There's still plenty of time here in the 2nd quarter, but the less time you can give Marietta, the better, because the only way they've been able to pick up yards is by slowly chipping away. So they're going to need all the time they can get to even put a drive together themselves. So I'd expect the Yellowjackets to come out here and maybe with a 4th and 3, it might be risky to run up the middle. Sure, you have John Murray, but the holes have really been plugged. So I'd expect to see the ball go in the air and look to find the wide receivers on the outside.
Other scores this afternoon in the Ohio Athletic Conference. Heidelberg leads it over Muskingum in the first quarter, 14-0. Otterbein leads Capital 6-0. That game also in the first. In the second quarter, Mount Union only leading Ohio Northern 7-3. That one just starting in the second quarter. Mount Union, the number 1 team in the OAC. 4th down and 3 now for Armitage and company. They'll have 3 receivers to the near side. They bring 1 in motion. That's Buchard. Get the snap off, looking, heavy rush. Fires the pass. It is caught. And on the run is Mitchell to the 10, to the 5. Oh, he goes through the defense of Marietta for a 35-yard score, but we have a flag back at the 30-yard line. Marietta pointing the way of BW, and the way with BW's having their hands blocked to the back against BW. That one is going to negate the touchdown. Boy, what an exciting run by Ian Mitchell. And, boy, he just sliced and diced his way all for nothing.
Yeah, and we expected the ball to go in the air and make something happen. And Armitage, well done by him as he was getting hit to still release the ball. It was low. Mitchell was able to grab it and take it all the way to the house. It's just the NCAA has really tried to eliminate those blocks in the backs, those blindside blocks, and you saw it again right there. And unfortunately for the Yellowjackets, it negates the touchdown.
10-yard penalty, 4th down.
With penalty of Sass,
5:06 remaining here in the first half. That penalty really puts BW back to the midfield stripe, and that brings out the punting team.
Hoff will boot it.
Hoff is getting ready to boot the football, and back to receive the kick will be Veach. Illegal procedure against BW. That'll push him back another 5 yards.
5-yard penalty, 4th down.
So it'll be 4th down and a bus ride. But they're getting their punt unit out. And
although you hate to have penalties, that 5 yards might not hurt them too much as it gives Hoff some more room to put it down there.
Hoff awaits the shotgun snap. High, brings it down, sends it away, an end over end kick. Veach will call for the fair catch inside the 30-yard line. So with 4:59 remaining in the opening half, BW leading it 7-0. And let's see if the defense for the Yellowjackets, Cole, if they can turn it up even a couple of more notches. They were really getting into the face of McSweeney.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out about the special teams and go back to is you see Marietta's really been able to get back there and put some pressure, and Hoff's been having to really kick the ball high in the air. It'd be nice to see if the Yellowjackets could really stay a little stronger up the middle so Hoff could really launch the ball down the field more than having to loft it up.
4:59 remaining in the opening half. They'll give it to Tanner Clark, and Clark fights his way to the 35, and they'll mark him down at the 36. He'll pick up 6 on that run.
And right there, that was one of the best runs Clark's had all day, but he really had to fight hard to get those 6 yards.
Kyle McSweeney, the former Trinity player, and no flag on the play as that was intended for Robert Nelson. Good defensive coverage. Could have gone either way for possible pass interference, but as you said earlier, the referees kept their flag in the pocket, and it's going to be an incomplete and 3rd down and 4 now for Marietta.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure about that one. I think that very well could have been a pass interference. Obviously from up here it looked like that. Maybe from down on the field the ball was really high and they deemed it uncatchable, but I'm a little surprised the Yellowjackets got away with that.
3rd down and 4 now. They'll swing one out to the near side. That's Justin Bell. McSweeney, heavy rush into the grasp of Schrock, and he goes down at the 35-yard line for a loss of 1.5 yards. Another sack. That's 3 for the Yellowjackets this afternoon.
And again, that defensive line, not the biggest one around, but that speed and that wherewithal and knowing where the ball is impressive. And I mean, McSweeney hasn't had really any time to sit back there and throw, and only a couple times he has. So well done by the Yellowjackets again to get off the field and still give 4 minutes for their offense.
And they've done a very good job in putting a lot of pressure.
Mitchell and Hill.
Hill and Mitchell are back. This one is a high, short kick. And they're going to let this one bounce. And boy, that could have been a costly bounce as there was a BW Yellowjacket in close vicinity of the ball. You know, that's where the coaches say, fire, 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 and you get out of the way. But you just don't know where and how that football is going to bounce.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw it, and you saw Mitchell was waving everybody off, and they were trying their best to get out, but that ball took that sideways bounce, and fortunate for the Yellowjackets that nobody actually ran that direction, and it was pretty clear to that side.
It has been a defensive battle here at Tressel Field as BW leads at 7-0. The only score in the game was a 61-yard pass play as the Yellowjackets coming up with the big score, and Ian Mitchell was the recipient of that 61-yard touchdown pass. So with 3:40 to go, the Yellowjackets put one in motion. Armitage is going to swing it out to the near side. The pass is caught by Velasquez, and Velasquez crosses the 35 to the 36. That'll be a 5-yard pickup on the swing pass.
And I think it would be great to see the Yellowjackets really air the ball out on this drive a lot. Sure, you want to take some time off the clock, but you know that clock's ticking quickly. It's time to really move the ball to get some points.
Slot to the near side. Armitage is going to give the ball. No, he's going to run it himself, but he's being chased. He'll be wrapped up inside the 35-yard line. Coming in on the chase for Marietta was Carson Stauffer.
And I've given Armitage credit for his reads in some prior situations. That one, I do think he probably should have handed it off to Perry. I think Marietta had seen him keep it before. They were ready for it. And I think Perry maybe would have had an opening and been able to take it for big yardage.
Clock is down to 2:39 here in the first half. BW with a 7-0 lead. That score coming in the first quarter of play as the Yellowjackets on a 61-yard touchdown reception. Armitage steps up in the pocket. He loses the football, but it goes and bounces right back into his arms after he was taken down by Carson Stauffer once again. You just saw that play develop. You thought, okay, he's going to get the ball away, and then he just got mugged back there.
Well, and I think it's one of those things where we gave some credit to the Yellowjackets for their pass rushing ability, but right there, the offensive line for the Yellowjackets has played pretty well as well. They've given Armitage in the last couple drives a decent amount of time, so I don't think he was anticipating somebody to come up from behind him, but great job by the Marietta defense to force the fumble, but very fortunate bounce as it came right back to Armitage.
Marietta coming into this game with 20 sacks for a negative 125 yards, and really that shows you the pressure that Marietta is putting in. And you know, you look at Armitage, he's the youth, he is a freshman, and he'll learn. He will learn when he feels that pressure to really get out there, as you said, trying to look off and maybe try to run that ball instead of just staying there in the pocket. So it'll be Jay Hoff back to punt the ball once again. Hoff on the year. 38 yards a kick.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Marietta sends pressure up the middle again. I think, especially with the field position, I think they'd really try to come after this punt.
Veach is back at his 27-yard line. There's the heavy, and another one off the side. The punters are having a hard time this afternoon as that rolls to the near side into Marietta territory. They're going to start in very good field position near midfield.
They will, and you know, a little bit of that was Hoff. It went off the side of his foot, and he should have been able to get that down and launch it properly. The other thing, though, is I think he is feeling the pressure coming up the middle, and he's trying to rush it a little bit. And, you know, I think that's one of those things where, sure, there are different ways to punt the ball. I'm personally a fan of the rugby style because if the pressure comes up the middle, you're at least moving to the side and can launch it away.
So with 2:11 remaining in the opening half, it's a 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line for Marietta as McSweeney rolls to the right, fires a pass underneath. It's caught. It'll be short of the first down as Van Meter comes up with the catch out of Marysville, West Virginia.
And here comes that hurry up. They're going to go quickly with under 2 minutes left to go.
McSweeney fires it. Van Meter gets the first down at the 40, moves up ahead to the 35-yard line as the no-huddle offense for the Pioneers trying to get that ball in there with 1:45. They're set at the line of scrimmage, trying to tie this game with under 1:45 to go. McSweeney again looking for the screen. He gets hit. He fires. The pass is caught, and making the juggling catch once again is Robert Nelson.
And Robert Nelson, that was outstanding too. You know, obviously he dropped it the first time, but as he was getting hit, was able to pull it in, and that's huge for his team.
McSweeney and company getting back to that line of scrimmage very quickly. He fires in the corner, overthrows his intended target, Andrew Barker out of Mogador at 6'3", 214.
And you're starting to see, obviously, there is an intensity and a quickness about Marietta's offense right now, trying to get the points right here. But the other thing is, you're seeing McSweeney. He's been hit so many times through this first half, and he's starting to really catch on that the pressure's coming quickly, so he's got to release the ball fast.
And the good thing on that pass play, even though it went incomplete, it stops the clock.
Yeah, it gives them plenty of time to work, and down here in the red zone, it's really their first opportunity in a position like this.
They get a receiver late coming into the game. That's Robert Nelson. He'll be on the near side along with Giovango, and that forces Coach Waddle to burn a timeout for the Marietta Pioneers. With 1:30 to go, BW hanging on to a 7-0 lead. Really the first big threat by the Pioneers this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the first one. I think they got down around the 30-yard line in the first quarter and weren't really able to get much happening. They went for it on 4th down and were stopped short, and that was really the closest they've gotten to the end zone for themselves on the offensive side of things. So here's their time to obviously take the timeout, talk it over, work through the plan, but they've got several downs to get the first down, and then they could still get into the end zone. So they've got plenty of time to make this happen with a minute and a half left, but it will be interesting to see if they go to the ground at all or if they're going to continue to keep it in the air.
So after the timeout, Marietta will have a second down and 10 at the BW 16-yard line as they are in the red zone. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the near side. Clark to the right of Kyle McSweeney. He's going to drop back 3, looks, fires, pass underneath, is caught by Bobby Cashaw. He'll pick up about 4 yards on the play, close to that 10-yard line. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 12. Hurry up offense. Marietta getting back. You hear that BW crowd trying to cheer on this defense. McSweeney looking to the middle. The pass is caught at the 5-yard line. That's going to be a first down for the Pioneers. And the catch is made by Andrew Barker. He's been Mr. Reliable on this drive and in this first half.
He has been, and they can throw it out wide to him, but you've seen a lot of their favorite targets for him has been right up the middle, especially in short yardage situations.
Clock is under 60 seconds to go in the first half. The Pioneers are trying to tie this ball game as BW leads it by 7. Play action. McSweeney fires. Incomplete pass. Good coverage there as Andrew Barker was the intended receiver.
And Barker is telling McSweeney exactly what he wanted. He had a huge size advantage over Jordan Johnson. That ball needed to be put up high so it was a jump ball rather than straight in the breadbasket where Johnson could get to it.
That stops the clock with 41.8 seconds to go in the first half of action. Marietta threatening the score on 2nd and goal from the 5. And a timeout will be called by the Yellowjackets.
Baldwin Wallace, their second of the half.
That is their second of the half. You burn them. You might as well use them because it doesn't carry over to the next half.
Yeah, and this is crucial for the Yellowjackets. Obviously, you want to hold Marietta out of the end zone, and especially because, sure, you haven't put up many points on offense, but you really dominated the whole first half. The last thing you want is to give up a touchdown, and the whole momentum shifts going into halftime in favor of Marietta after you dominated for 2 quarters.
So the Pioneers, when they come out of this timeout, will face a second down and goal at the 5. And you have to be impressed with the way Marietta moved the football in this 2-minute drill.
Yeah, they've moved the ball better in the hurry up than when we've seen them do anything in the first quarter and the second quarter. So if I were Marietta and they're able to put up points here, maybe consider to come out in the second half and play a little bit of hurry up, because I think it's gotten the balance of BW off as well defensively and not allowed them to sub or catch their breath.
Get that tempo going. So it is second down and goal to go, and there is the scoreboard just went haywire. Now it's back. 41.8 seconds remaining. McSweeney will have Clark to his left. 3 receivers are in the motion to the left. Van Meter motions to the right. McSweeney, play action, looking, and he gets hit and he lost his lid. Oh, he got hit so hard that his helmet popped off and he's very slow to get up. Wow.
Yeah, and that was a really hard hit, and we hope McSweeney's okay. Great play defensively for the Yellowjackets, but that was a massive hit.
He sits down, and we have the injury timeout, and boy, he just got hit so hard from the backside.
Yeah, and that's huge for the Yellowjackets, and they're excited, but I think it's one of those things too where you want to be excited about that, but McSweeney is not doing well at the moment. So, at the same time, you want to make sure that you're showing some class, because Marietta's quarterback is not doing well at the moment. We hope he's okay, and we hope we get to see him in the second half, but after a hit like that and going face down with his helmet off, That's tough. It's a tough break for Marietta.
And when you look at it, you have to look at the impact of that hit. They weren't going for the head, but the impact there just knocked his helmet off.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you just see that in football, like massive hits can just jar a person's body. And you saw that the helmet rolling across the ground. And I think that's obviously you see the huge play, but that's one of the first things you notice because not often do you see a helmet rolling about 10 yards away after a play.
Clock is stopped with 35.4 seconds remaining. As Marietta will face a third down.
The game clock will start on my signal.
We'll start with a 3rd and goal to go at the 10-yard line. And the Pioneers will go in with Ethan Brown as your quarterback as McSweeney has to sit out this play. That's going to change up things offensively for the Pioneers. Brown getting the snap, looking for his receiver. Incompleted pass. And it'll be 4th and goal. Good defensive coverage once again by BW.
And with a backup quarterback in, I think this is where you just have to settle and take some points. And I think Marietta will go for the 3 points and just get some points on the board going into halftime.
That'll be the best play as that ball will be spotted at the 17-yard line. The holder is Justin Harvey. Griffin getting ready for the field goal. At the 17, it'll be a 27-yard attempt.
Timeout, Marietta. 3rd and final timeout of the half.
3rd and final timeout of the half for Marietta. And was able to look at that last play where McSweeney got knocked out of the ball game, and really it was just a high tackle and blindside hit. That's where that that blindside guard and tackle have to really protect your quarterback.
Yeah, and this is huge for the Yellowjackets as well because, you know, whether Marietta misses or they hit the 3 points, regardless, it is a win for the defense. You got yourselves backed up against the goal line. And it looked like Marietta was pressing to get the touchdown, and you're going to escape without 7 points going up against you on the board.
A 27-yard field goal attempt for Griffin. He's 1 of 1 between 20 and 29 yards. Harvey is the holder. Good snap. The kick is away, and this one is rifled right through the uprights. With 13 seconds remaining, Marietta gets on the board with the field goal, and so it's a 7-3 game. The big difference has been that 61-yard touchdown pass for the Yellowjackets, and the defense for BW really coming up strong when Marietta had it. 1st and goal to go at the 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And with 14 seconds left to go, the Yellowjackets have an ability to return the ball. So this is a situation where Marietta is probably going to need to squib the ball and make sure that nothing big happens, because the last thing Marietta wants is to finally get points on the board and then give up a huge return going into half.
Yeah, because the coaching staff will not be happy in that locker room if you do that with just the 13 seconds remaining in the first half of action. Griebel and Mitchell are back to receive. Longest run by Mitchell on a kickoff return, 21 yards. But with the rain that has been falling all afternoon, the lights are on here at Tressel Field. Anything can and will happen.
Absolutely.
On the approach, there you called it, that squib kick on the ground. It is picked up by Mitchell, and Mitchell gets taken down on a German suplex.
Yeah, I think Mitchell wanted to make a move. He tried to go backwards, and then Yellowjackets not happy with the the suplex on the tackle there. Of course, Marietta's sideline will go crazy, but it's one of those things where it's called very differently. I think it's maybe about the intensity of it, but you've seen it in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins, after an interception in the Texans game earlier in the year, he went to the suplex. He got hit with the flag right there off the suplex. No flags given, but the officials have really kept their flags in their pockets in this game.
Absolutely, they have, and the Yellowjackets will drop a knee, and they will be content in going into the locker room at the half, leading it 7-3. The big difference, a 61-yard touchdown pass to Mitchell from Armitage, and a field goal late in the first half by Marietta. That's where we are at, 7-3 here at the half.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a situation where maybe when the teams come back out in the second half, we could see a more offensive game, but really held true to how BW has been in the past couple of weeks as well. First quarter, especially defensive, still in the second quarter, and you see the defense play well all game, but not surprised to not see too many points up on the board at the end of that first half.
We'll take a break. It is halftime here at Tressel Field as the Yellowjackets lead it over Marietta 7-3.
song by American band Twisted Sisters from the album Stay Hungry. The single reached number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100 Singles chart, making it Twisted Sisters' top 40 single. Majorette Nikki McBride is featured as the band performs to We're Not Going to Take It. The drumline's next feature is Miserlou, a Mediterranean folk song. The song gained worldwide popularity through Dick Dale's 1962 American surf rock version. In 1994, it gained mass popularity in a Quentin Tarantino movie, Pulp Fiction. The Jacket drumline now presents Miserlou. Our next song this afternoon was written by Avicii, Aloe Black, and American guitarist Mike Einzinger. This song made history by becoming the first song on Spotify to accumulate 200 million streams. We feature our Jackettes and color guard captain Maddie Lovejoy as the band performs Wake Me Up. Our final song this afternoon is by American singer and songwriter Bruno Mars. It is a funk soul pop rock record featured at a recent Grammy Awards show. This arrangement has a sound that reminds you of the late, great James Brown. The band concludes their show today with Runaway Baby.
Your attention, please. A Baldwin Wallace student ID has been returned to the press box. Sabrina, your student ID is in the press box. Sabrina.
Welcome back to Tressel Field as we are just about set for the second half of action here at BW. BW in the first half leading at 7-3. They have 137 yards in total offense. Marietta 129. The big difference in this game, a 61-yard touchdown pass for BW early on. They gave them a 7-0 lead. And then Jacob Griffin on a 27-yard field goal cut that lead to 7-3. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this second half as you look at the numbers.
Yeah, and obviously numbers-wise, the Yellowjackets haven't had really any big plays besides that big touchdown, and I'll be curious to see if, obviously they're going to want to run the ball up the middle still with Murray, but I'll be curious to see if they start running some more reverses, start trying to switch the field and get it to the outside a little more, because Marietta has really kept it compact in the middle on defense, and the linebackers have come up. So it'll be interesting how the Yellowjackets play offensively here in the second half.
Marietta able to score 3 points at the end of the first half. As we start the second half, they do get the football.
They do, and Marietta obviously ended the half in a situation that was pretty ideal for them because they weren't able to get anything going offensively, and although they wanted the touchdown, and a lot changed when McSweeney went down, but they were still able to kick the field goal. They were able to cut it to 4 points. They're still very much so in this game. Despite momentum really being on the Yellowjacket side, they're in it.
Ball is up and about, and it will be taken by Justin Bell. Bell gets it over the 30-yard line, breaks a tackle to the 35, still on his feet, and falls over the 40 to the 42, but we've got a flag thrown back at the 30-yard line. Holding is the call against Marietta, so that'll push him back. That'll negate the run back to the 30 and then push him back a few more yards.
And very little do you see a big return not get a flag anymore. It seems like any time off of a punt or a big kick return, it always seems that there's some sort of flag coming in. So, it was great for Marietta in that standpoint of there was some room. They were able to try to set up some field positions. Just unfortunate for them that the holding really brings them back to their own 20.
Kyle McSweeney will come out with his offense, and after taking that vicious hit late in the first half, he's 12 of 21 for 117 yards as he gets ready to start the second half of action. 1st and 10 for the Pioneers at their 30. They'll hand the ball off to Tanner Clark. He'll pick up a first down and 12 yards as he runs it up the left hash mark.
And that right there, the best run of the game for Clark, is he was able to find that hole up the middle, and here you see the offense moving quickly like they did at the end of the first half.
25 yards for him in the ball game. McSweeney fires pass batted at the line of scrimmage. That was intended for Austin Veach. And boy, somebody got their mitts on that pass.
Yeah, and it's great for Marietta to see McSweeney back out there. After taking that huge hit, it was kind of up in the air on whether we'd actually, see him or not. We didn't know from up here. And for Marietta, it's crucial that he's in at quarterback because he has the ability to air it out, and he has the ability to lead this team. So huge for Marietta that he's back under center.
2nd down and 10 now for the Pioneers as Van Meter goes in motion from the near side to the far side. Numbers. 3 down linemen for BW. They'll go with that 3-4 defense. High snap brought down. They get it to Tanner Clark. Clark gets hit by Noah Jackson back at the line of scrimmage.
Clark off the left side.
And Noah Jackson, a guy who we didn't really call his name too much in the first half, but right here he's been pretty crucial on this drive alone to this point, and he's done a good job bouncing to the outside and stopping the run, as you saw there.
Picks up his 7th tackle of the game. 14:06 just underway here in the second half of action. 3rd down and 9 after the gain of a yard by Tanner Clark, 26 yards in the ball game so far. McSweeney looking over the defense. It's a 3-man rush. Clark, big hole, gets it to the 40, close to the 41. That's where they'll mark it. He'll be a yard shy after he picks up 8 yards. Tanner Clark on the year, 786 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 4.1 yards a crack. You hear the BW faithful as 4th and 1. Clark getting it, got bottled up at the 40. Let's see, you're going to be short a yard, no doubt about it. Boy, that defensive front 7 for the Yellowjackets came up huge.
Yeah, and that's an issue you're continuing to see in college football. You're seeing less and less schools, really go under center truly to take the snap. You see a lot of shotgun, a lot of pistol sets, a lot of that. And so Marietta tried to, go under center, and you saw McSweeney got his legs tangled up with his center, and he was falling when he handed it off. And really the whole play, as soon as that happened, kind of went into disarray, and the Yellowjackets able to stand strong.
So the Yellowjackets get the ball on turnover of downs, and they'll have it just shy of the 40-yard line, as they will have a 1st and 10. They'll mark it just shy of the 40. Armitage, 7 of 13 in the first half, is going to hand the ball off, and on the run is Sean Perry. Perry will pick up a couple of yards in the first half. Perry ran the ball for 12 yards. Leading ball carrier for BW is John Murray Jr. with 18 yards in that first half. That just shows you how hard it's been to run the football today.
And it has been, and John Murray Jr. is really the power back. They like to hand it off. He had over 100 yards in the last game, and he's a guy who gets those legs turning and moving forward, but they didn't hand it off to him too much in the first half.
2nd down and 6 after a pickup of 4 on the play. Armitage gets the shotgun snap, drops, pumps, throws, looking in the corner, has a receiver open, and it's going to be out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Edwin Velasquez out of Florida comes up with a huge catch inside the 1.
And we talked about the speed of the Florida boys earlier, and you just saw it there with Velasquez as he got behind, and that's about as close as you can get to not having a touchdown off of a big completion there. And right here now the Yellowjackets have an opportunity, and I'd expect a handoff to John Murray Jr. to go right up the middle. 1st and goal to go at the 1-yard line. Murray is to the left of Armitage. Armitage barking out the blocking scheme. He'll give it to Murray, and easily on that left side as Austin Vest opening up a hole, and Javon Megadichian helping out for BW on the line, and it gives BW a 13-3 lead. And there you have it, very similar to last week. The offense really didn't get a ton going in the first half, and they come out here and in their first possession already put up a touchdown on the board here in the second half.
Big plays by BW. That has been their story today. 2 big plays leading the scores for the Yellowjackets. Aceris getting ready for the extra point. The kick is up, it's away, and it is good. 14-3 our score. 11:56 remaining in the 3rd quarter. A huge play to Edwin Velasquez from Keegan Armitage, and the freshman and the senior hooking up for a big play that leads to a Murray touchdown.
Yeah, and you just saw the Yellowjackets, they moved the ball very well. Sure, they went to the ground game with Perry immediately and tried to move it a little bit, but going deep to Velasquez, they took advantage of the speed they had again, and although they did not score the touchdown on that play, I mean, when you're sitting a couple inches out from the end zone and you have a back like Murray that's exactly what you have to do. You have to hand it off to him and let him take it to pay dirt.
And Velasquez didn't even have a chance. He was turning around and he had his back to the goal line. He wasn't even able to try to extend it inside the pylon. But a good catch nonetheless, and BW jumps out to a 14-3 lead here in the third quarter. And really with Marietta, they won the coin toss, deferred to the second half. You think they scored at the end of the first half, they might be able to put some points to get back into this game. The Yellow Jacket defense holds, and now BW is up 14-3. Kickoff underway. It'll be taken by Bell. Bell out to the 20-yard line. Gets banged at the 25. Forward progress gets him to about the 26-yard line. That's where the Pioneers will get ready.
Well, and this next drive will be pretty crucial for Marietta because the Yellow Jackets in the second half, that's where the offense usually comes alive and they're able to put up the big points. So you're already a little bit behind the 8 ball at the moment, down by 11 points. So they really need to get down the field, get a drive going, and try to put up some points because you don't want to fall behind by a large number to these Yellow Jackets.
Marietta started the year 3-0 with wins over Hiram, Capital, and Muskingum. But in their last 4 games, they have lost 3 of their last 4 games. The only win was at Wilmington. McSweeney swings it out onto the near side. Austin Veach comes up with the catch, and we have a flag thrown.
And how about that flag throw? I mean, that was 20 yards down the field.
And they do it with such accuracy.
Yep, exactly.
They're within a yard or two of where the foul spot occurred. That foul spot occurred at the 24-yard line, and that'll move it back. You know, when you look at this Marietta team, 3-3 on the year.
Offense, number 14, 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Giovengo getting called with the hole, but you look at their losses. Last week, they lost to John Carroll 23-21. So they have really hung tight. Their other loss, they got blown out by Heidelberg 58-32 and lost 31-23 to Ohio Northern. So you know, they can play with those teams in the upper echelon of the OAC. McSweeney on the draw. They get it to Tanner Clark. Clark gets over the 20 back to the 21-yard line. And in on the stop for the Yellow Jackets is Noah Jackson out of Amherst.
And this is the last thing Marietta needed, was they kind of shot themselves in the foot. They put them in long yardage here on first down, and then I'm a little surprised that they ran it on first down. I mean, they were back with a 1st and 20. Sure, they picked up 5 there, but they've still got a lot of yardage to go, and they really need this drive.
2nd down and 15. They need to get it out to the 37-yard line. They put in Veach in motion. Heavy rush. McSweeney goes down at the 25-yard line. Again, that swarming defense. Leading the charge is Jake Schrock.
Jake Schrock brings it back. It's 3rd and 11.
Jake Schrock, have yourself a day. I mean, on the other side of the line, you have a guy in Sekou Amani who gets a lot of attention, who's been outstanding this season, but Schrock has been absolutely dominant today.
When you look at quarterback hurry-ups, they forced 30 quarterback hurry-ups this year, the BW defense. Now McSweeney, another heavy rush from the outside, gets the pass underneath in coverage and tight coverage, and that pass goes complete to Andrew Barker.
Yeah, and I don't know about that spot. They got an extra yard. I think the line judge on the far side gave them very favorable spot there.
Favorable?
Yeah, good yard and a half.
Yeah. So McSweeney gets it to Tanner Clark, trying to bounce to the numbers, gets over the 40, fighting his way to the 45. He'll pick up 9 yards as he gets to the 46-yard line. And you talked about this at the end of the first half. Marietta very successful in moving the football in that no-huddle offense. Open receiver, it is caught at the 30-yard line as McSweeney hits Andrew Barker on that sideline pass.
pass catch.
Well, and the thing is, it seems like when they go in the hurry up, McSweeney almost thinks a little bit less too. He gets the ball out of his hand quicker, and so the pressure can't actually get to him.
Quarterback that thinks less, you just got to get that football out of the hands. Again, he fires a quick shot. Barker again, he puts his head down inside the 19. We've got a flag thrown, and that'll slow up the Marietta offense. And I think you're right. You know, you look at how Marietta has moved the football in that no-huddle offense.
Yeah, and I think the situation is it's very similar again. Obviously, McSweeney's felt the pressure today, especially when the Yellowjackets have had time to rest, catch a breather. They've been able to sub in and out. They've been able to get to him. But as they've been going in that hurry up, McSweeney releases that ball quickly. I mean, he doesn't really even need more than 2-3 seconds to get it out, and it's out of his hand, and he's been able to deliver strikes in that system.
The penalty will go against Marietta as we get the call.
Legal block below the waist. Offense number 15, 15-yard penalty. First down.
Block below the waist is the call. That'll move the Pioneers back to the 39-yard line, and what a costly penalty for Coach Waddle and his Marietta Pioneers.
With penalty assessed, ball spotted at the
This is going to be an important play for Marietta because they've had their time. They didn't have that quick no-huddle offense to really try to keep the Yellowjackets back on their heels. They're going to hand the ball off over to Justin Bell, and Bell breaks a tackle to the 40-39, and not a whole lot as Nick Panko coming in to help out on that tackle.
When you give the Yellowjackets time, you don't keep them on their toes, and they're just going to come after you and absolutely stuff the run in the backfield as they just did in that situation as well.
Veach and Van Meter are the receivers on the near side looking for Van Meter. He comes in, tries to go with a one-handed grab, and nothing going as both the offensive and defensive player jostling for position on that near sideline. On the coverage is Jordan Johnson.
And the Yellowjackets got fortunate there in that situation because Johnson switched over to this side. He switched over with Elijah Green, who went to the other side, and they were late to do so, and the snap was off as they were still trying to switch.
8:34 remaining in the third quarter. BW with a 14-3 lead. Marietta was moving very well, but they had a block below the waist call that has pushed them back, and it's a 3rd down and 24 for the Pioneers. McSweeney, heavy rush, gets out of the grasp of a defender, fires an open receiver. It is caught by Barker. He's going to pick up the first down as he gets it down to the 12-yard line. What composure for Kyle McSweeney, the senior from Independence, Ohio.
Sekou Amani was right on him, and McSweeney slipped the tackle and found Barker.
Quickly with the no-huddle offense, they fire it to the outside, and they're going to lose a yard on the play as the catch was made by Ryan Van Meter. And I had an opportunity to talk to Van Meter during the OAC Media Day back in August when we were given an opportunity to talk to the players around in the OAC, and he was very confident of how this team was doing and a mixing of the youth and the old school kids that are there. McSweeney hands it off to Tanner Clark. Clark will get it close to the 10-yard line, a few yards on the pickup. Can Marietta keep that tempo going as they are in the red zone? Lots of wholesale changes, late men coming in and out, and that forces BW to call a timeout, and that is where that quick offense, that tempo offense really can keep the defense, because they were not able, the BW Yellowjackets were not able to get the right defensive personnel out there.
And here's where Marietta just needs to play to their strengths. They have big wide receivers. Baldwin Wallace has very short corners, so all you have to do is you send Barker to the corner and kind of in the corner of the end zone. I would throw a jump ball and have Barker go up and get it, because Jordan Johnson, a guy who's 5'10", you've got other corners who aren't big. They just cannot match up with that size, so play to your strength and let your big wide receiver go up and get it.
And not a whole lot of times that we've seen Robert Nelson and Andrew Barker out there at the same time. Nelson is 6'3". Barker, as we've talked about, is also 6'3", and they do have that ability to really go up top to make those catches. And now we see him on the near side. Barker and Nelson, the receivers on the near side, they do have that height advantage. So look for Kyle McSweeney to be looking at them right off the bat. 3rd down and 10. Ball spotted at the 12-yard line of the Yellowjackets. They put Van Meter in motion. McSweeney looking into the corner. Touchdown! Or no, incomplete. Not enough room on the sideline. And who did they go to? They went to Andrew Barker. They flooded the near side with the height, and just not enough real estate on that sideline.
And that was outstanding by DJ Isaac as he was in coverage. He was able to come across, and as soon as the ball was caught, he was able to put the tackle on, and just that slight push made sure that no foot was able to get in bounds, and Nelson was so close to getting the touchdown there.
So it brings up a 4th down, and they will go with Jacob Griffin for another field goal. This will be spotted at the 19-yard line. It'll be a 29-yard field goal right up the middle. Good snap to set the kick. Is away, and it is blocked. And the Yellowjackets come up big on the defensive side as they block Griffin's field goal attempt. And we've talked about the defensive plays today. Here's another one by the Yellowjackets coming up huge.
Yeah, and the Yellowjackets know the importance of special teams, and they keep a lot of those starting defensive guys out there on the field goal block situations, and Brenton Miller, the linebacker, was able to find his way through. There were actually a bunch of Yellowjackets in there, but Miller was the one able to get his hand up and get the block, and that right there, obviously, momentum was already in the hands of the Yellowjackets, but the whole Marietta sideline has gone very quiet now.
Absolutely. 7:16 remaining in the 3rd quarter. BW getting the ball on a turnover after the blocked field goal attempt. So Armitage and company back out there. They'll go with 2 in the backfield as they split them left and right of Armitage. And now they will bring Greer in motion to the far side, handing the ball off to Murray. Murray breaking a tackle. He'll get out to the 28-yard line and does a very nice job in the run.
And he did, as Murray was able to spin off of that and push forward. I think the ball was dropped right at the end. I'm not sure if he was down or if he was up, but the Yellowjackets able to fall on it and make sure that there was no question there on whether it was a fumble or not.
6:50 remaining in the 3rd quarter. BW with a 14-3 lead. They got the football after a blocked field goal attempt, and now they're sitting at their own 22. Let's see if Armitage is going to go on that deep route as the receivers in single coverage, and a timeout will be called by Baldwin Wallace. 6:26 remaining in the 3rd quarter. BW leads it 14-3. Today's Yellowjackets football game is brought to you by Jimmy John's in Middleburg Heights. We're freaky fast, so your sandwich arrives freaky fresh. Call us at 440-625-0745 or go online at jimmyjohns.com. By Crown Plaza in Middleburg Heights. When you are looking for a quality place to stay before or after any Yellowjacket contest, choose the Crown Plaza. And by Medical Mutual of Ohio, the healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. Yellowjackets with a 14-3 lead as they looking to put some more points on the board. Second down and 7 for the Yellowjackets. In motion is Mitchell. They get him on the jet sweep, trying to break out a tackle. He reverses his field. This could be trouble. Good downfield block by Armitage, but an open field tackle as Mitchell is still on his feet as he gets a loss of 3 after running about 50 yards.
Yeah, that's how to run a long ways around a field and not do anything really productive going side to side.
And you lose 2 yards on the play. He ran all the way. I thought he was going to get that big block to spring him open. Armitage tried to get that block, but the defense from Marietta read it very nicely.
Well, the other thing is Armitage had to come in carefully because you don't want to get that blindside block in there.
Third down and 12 now after a loss of 2, 7 on the play clock. Armitage stepping up in the pocket. He fires. The pass is caught by Mitchell again at the 31-yard line. Good enough for a first down for BW. On the tackle is Troy Pontius.
And that right there, Mitchell showed his ability to get across the field, and here the Yellowjackets are going to hurry up their offense as well.
BW with a 1st and 10 at their own 32-yard line. They'll have a 3-by-1 set. Armitage getting the call from the sideline and now gives the offensive line assignment. I got a funny feeling they may try to streak this one downfield. Nope, they're going to give it to Murray. Murray finds a little bit of a hole. That hole closed up quickly, but he gets it out to the 35-yard line and over the 35 after a gain of 3 on the play. Do you think the coaching staff is trying to set up Marietta with a couple of runs and then hit that deep route, which BW has been successful today?
I think it's very possible. I think it's also possible to see a guy like Greer, who hasn't really been given the ball too much today, to come around on an end around and make something happen.
Clock down to 4:31 here in this third quarter of play. Murray will be to the left of Armitage out of the gun. Now flares out in motion. Swing pass. Murray catching it, looking for a downfield block, picks up the first down as he gets it over the 45-yard line. Very good play calling there by the BW coaching staff.
And I don't care whether Murray is running the ball at the middle or if he's catching it and then running afterwards. The guy just runs hard, and he puts the pedal to the metal, really, and he just barrels through anybody that's ahead of them, and he always seems to fall forward, and you saw it again there.
And you look at his field vision, trying to pick up his blocks downfield, and then he finds that little hole, and he was able to pick up the first down. Ball spotted at the 45 of BW. Once again, they will go with a slot to the near side, 2 in the backfield. They're going to flare out Green. They hand the ball off to Murray. Hole at the 50, down to the 49, and he's starting to find those little holes, and you got to credit that line up front for BW.
And as you keep giving it to Murray here, you're going to continue to see Marietta on this drive really key in on it. So it's the time to go to somebody else and then hit him either with a big pass play or with one of the quick wide receivers.
Stafford, Vest, Simon, and Stanton doing a very good job up front for the Yellowjackets. Armitage looks, hands it off. There's a hole again, another first down for Murray. As Murray comes in, and we had 2 players tangled back at the 48-yard line. That was Patrick Simon and number 55, or 95, Kyle Gallagher, twisted up in the backfield.
And we've seen those two go up against each other a lot today, and really Patrick Simon has gotten the better of Gallagher as they've been able to move the pile up front, and it's been well done by the offensive line.
Another first down picked up by the Yellowjackets. They'll bring in Greer in motion. They'll hand the ball off to Sean Perry. He quickly fires through the 40, inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line. He'll pick up 5 yards on the play. Yellowjackets taking a lot of time on this drive.
McClure with the stop.
McClure coming up with the stop for Marietta as the Yellowjackets lead at 14-3.
When you've seen Marietta be able to mostly keep the run contained, but this drive, BW continues to break big gains.
The line has been doing a very good job in getting those runs as Greer breaks a tackle, picks up the first down as he gets it inside the 30 to about the 27-yard line. Again, using those wideouts, their speedy wideouts on those pitches and runs.
Yeah, and if you want a definition of shifty, I'll give you that definition, and it is Dion Greer. He can easily stop on a dime, and he can quickly move around. And right there, it didn't look like there was much of a hole. He kind of had a little quick jump cut and then found the hole and went straight up through, and that was a huge gain for the wide receiver.
Sean Perry checks in right now. He'll be to the left of Armitage out of the gun. In motion is Greer, play action fake, heavy rush. Armitage forced to the outside, and he is going to get dropped at the 30-yard line, a loss of a couple of yards on the play. Brent McClure in on the tackle there for the Pioneers.
Armitage.
And that's one where the young quarterback, I'm surprised he didn't throw it away and just get that one out of bounds and decide to keep it and ended up taking a hit.
It'll be a loss of 4 on the play. So second down and 13. BW using up a whole lot of time as that clock is under 60 seconds in the third quarter. Armitage looking over to the near sideline, looking for his receivers. He's got 5 on the play clock. Has to get it off with 3. He does. They give the ball to Perry. Perry finds a hole. He'll get close to the 26-yard line.
Sean Perry with the inside
Forward
rush.
progress gives him 4 yards on the play, and that'll stop the clock.
We've got a flag down on the far side, and it was in the area of Ian Mitchell, the wide receiver.
Folkert and McClure combined for the stop.
Waiting for the official to come up with the call. Wes Davis, our referee.
After the play, dead ball personal foul. Offense 3, unnecessary roughness. 15 yards. Third down.
Well, that's a big penalty against BW, an unnecessary roughness call. So instead of having a second and short type, or second and moderate long, now they're going to have second down and a big long way to go.
And that's a drive killer right there, as they were steadily moving the ball, and then you just get undisciplined for just a second, and it puts you way behind the chains. And this makes it really hard for the Yellowjackets, and I would assume with 3rd and 27, Armitage really has to air this out.
Ball is moved back to the Marietta 41-yard line. 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 2 in the backfield, split. They're going to send out Greer. Looking. Armitage gets taken down at midfield. Another sack being made that time. Coming in is Ahmed Muhammad. You look at all the positive yardage that BW was able to get on this drive, and a sack really put him back.
Yeah, and I don't like the way Armitage is holding his arm and shoulder as he's coming off, and that was his left arm that he came down hard on. And, you know, you hate to see that because that happened to A.J. Miller, who started the year. He came down awkwardly on that left shoulder. Armitage then stepped in for him and hope that Armitage is okay and that he'll be able to return.
That is the end of the third quarter. BW leads it 14-3 here as we head towards the final 15 minutes of regulation. Today's Yellow Jacket football game is brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Division, the healthcare provider for BW Athletics. By American International. When you require a company with proven performance, rely on American International. And by the Courtyard by Marriott in Town Place Suites in Middleburg Heights. Have you stayed at a Marriott today? Adam Mendoza along with Cole McDaniel here at Tressel Field. Heading to the fourth quarter of play. BW with a 14-3 lead. The 2 touchdowns by the Yellowjackets came courtesy of very long pass plays.
Punt formation for the Jackets.
Now Jay Hoff will get ready to punt the football. He is back at his 35. Heavy rush. Gets this one high, end over end. And the fair catch is made by Veach at the 30-yard line with a lot of traffic in front of him.
Yeah, and we saw it in warm-ups. Before the full team came out, you saw the specialists out here, and Jay Hoff was bombing the ball down the field 50 yards regularly. And the thing is, that's a low snap as well as the pressure coming up the middle, and it's just the situation of Hoff has been uncomfortable all game trying to punt the ball away.
And he's seen a very heavy rush by this Marietta team. So Kyle McSweeney is out once again. Can he get Marietta to move downfield? In motion is Veach. Tanner Clark gets the quick handoff. Right up the gut. He'll pick up 2 yards on the play.
Clark with the carry, brought down by Devon Slocum.
Slocum coming in on the tackle for the Yellowjackets. Tim Monroe checks out of the ballgame on the defensive side for BW.
2nd and 8.
Let's see what Amani and Orocho can do for that defensive front three. They have put a lot of pressure on McSweeney. Again, he looks, he fires, throws behind, and it's intercepted. The pass is intercepted by Elijah Green back at the Marietta 46-yard line. You're going to have to credit Amani with the quarterback hurry because McSweeney was hearing footsteps on that backside.
He was, and still, even though Amani wasn't able to get a hand on him, McSweeney was able to deliver the ball away, but almost like that pressure and, like you said, hearing the footsteps made him throw the ball behind his intended receiver, and that's a huge interception by Elijah Green. Well done by the corner to come up with the big play, and here the Yellowjackets have good field position once again. We will see if they can actually do something on offense, and great to see Armitage back out there.
Elijah Green picks up his third interception of the year. So that gives BW the football, 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line of the Marietta Pioneers. Armitage looks over the defense, gets the snap, hands the ball off to Murray. Murray over the 45. They'll spot him down at the 44-yard line. Talked about Murray coming into this game. He's had 3 games of over 100 yards. 6 touchdown rushes, averaging 4.6 yards a rush this year. And can't catch the football out of the backfield. Clock down to 13:40 here in the 4th quarter. Armitage will have 2 in the backfield. They're going to keep him in. Handoff. Now it's going to be a throw as Mitchell looking, but Mitchell goes down. They were looking to try to hit Schneider-Buchard on that throw as Mitchell got the handoff, and he was getting ready to toss that football down the field.
Yeah, and that play was blown up from the start as Mitchell came around the edge and he got the ball. He was looking down the field. You saw him get into throwing motion about 2 or 3 times before he ended up just deciding to run it himself. But at that point, they couldn't get Buchard open, and they took the big loss.
Loss of 5 on the play. Now it's 3rd down and 15 for BW. Armitage standing at his 44-yard line awaiting the shotgun snap. Play action fake, looking downfield, looking, heavy rush, fires a wobbler, and it goes off the hands of the defensive back.
Armitage, play action pass.
Kyle Folkert, the linebacker, was playing back deep, and brings out the punting unit for BW again.
Yeah, and I still think that something's not right with Armitage. He kind of been holding that left arm, that left shoulder still, so I think he's okay, but I still think it hurts and it's bothering him as he's held it to his side. And, you know, sometimes just the little things like that can mentally throw you off, and you saw that pass thrown in not the ideal spot for him.
Hoff gets a nice kick up. Veach will get it at the 16-yard line, and the fair catch is called for. So we have 12:37 remaining in the 4th quarter. BW still leading the game 14-3. Marietta has tried to get back into this game, but the Yellow Jacket defense has come up big at certain points here in this second half.
Right, and coming into this game, we said that both of these quarterbacks really don't throw many interceptions, and then you just saw it there. You saw Marietta threw an interception, then the Yellow Jackets came right back, and it was very nearly an interception on that last play. So the quarterback's getting a little rattled right now, and we'll see if the BW defense can stay right on McSweeney.
McSweeney with 1 interception in the game today. He has 8 on the season. They give it to Tanner Clark, and Clark busts up for a couple of yards on the play. And coming in on the stop is Devin Slocum out of Cincinnati Elder. And I've seen that young man play down at the pit in Cincinnati, and he is a load to handle on that defensive side.
And he's a big defensive tackle, and on those first downs when you expect the other team's going to run the ball, he's the perfect guy to put in right there and just plug up the middle.
2nd down and 8 now for the Pioneers after a gain of 2 on the play. If you ever get a chance to see a high school game, go down to Cincinnati at Elder High School in the pit. One of the best places to watch a high school football game as the run gets out to the 20-yard line. You see how much room we have here from the press box to the field at Cincinnati Elder. You're basically on the field. It is a tight quarters which stands in a horseshoe type facility. Great place to watch a ball game. Actually rated one of the top 10 facilities to watch a high school game.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Also, Marietta, a little bit surprising to me that they continue to keep running the ball, considering they're still in the game and they're in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they need to really start airing it out, but they're not getting that much pressure. Here's a pass attempt. McSweeney looking to run. He gets taken down at about the 23-yard line. They wanted to pass. They must have heard you because they needed to try to go downfield, but good defensive coverage there by the defensive backs of the Yellowjackets, forcing McSweeney to run.
Well, and the thing is, it was almost like a little too late, too little too late. It's a situation where, honestly, all 3 downs probably should have been looking towards the air. I know that the Yellowjackets have really put some pressure on McSweeney, but you got to get those the ball out of his hand quick. You got to get it out and let your wide receivers try to make some plays happen, because only down 11. Yes, have the Yellowjackets dominated? Absolutely, but you're still in the game and there's still time.
And I think the big difference between Marietta and BW when it comes to the receivers, speed. BW has the speed as another kick off the side of the foot of Jacob Griffin. And wow.
Ball spotted at the Jackets' 43-yard line.
He has not had a good afternoon today.
No, and the thing for him is Hoff has had a lot of pressure in his face. The Yellowjackets really haven't put that much pressure on the opposition in a sense when it comes to the special teams aspect. Aside from the blocked field goal, the punting side of things has been pretty clear with room. So it's just been a matter of shanking it off the outside of the foot. But Marietta got a very fortunate roll, because when it hit sideways, you didn't expect it to roll a good 15 yards afterwards.
Ball spotted at the 43-yard line. Let's see what Armitage can do. You've talked about the arm, and he injured it a couple of possessions ago. Let's see how his throws are with 10-12 to go. BW up 14-3. They'll move Mitchell Yale in motion. They'll hand. Nope, it's a pass play. Almost intercepted, and he threw that underneath. And if you look at it, that ball was not well thrown whatsoever by Armitage.
No, it wasn't. And Armitage, a guy who usually puts it on the money, who's pretty much been pretty clinical, and you've seen it through the game. He doesn't really put the ball in a position where it can be intercepted very often. And that's his last 2 passes could very well have been picked off. And something's just a little bit off with the quarterback at the moment.
Yeah, that one, he has been throwing some long strikes on the nose, this time an intermediate pass, and he really threw it down low. That is something that we'll have to keep an eye on for the remaining 10 minutes of this ball game. Will BW go to the ground attack? Yes, they do. They give the football off to Sean Perry. Perry fighting his way to the 49 on second effort to pick up 6 yards.
Well, and John Murray is the starting back, and he can always keep those legs turning and move forward, but Perry said, I can do that too. He moved the pile 5 yards after he was touched. Impressive from the running back.
3rd down and 4 now for the Yellowjackets. As Armitage looks over to the offensive coordinator for the signal. They have been very effective in running the football, as Perry is to the left of Armitage out of the gun. 2-by-1 set with a slot to the left. Armitage on a roll to the left. Gets in trouble and is going to be sacked, and he'll lose 6 yards on the play. Youth?
Yeah,
he's been playing a lot this year, but has just gotten himself into some trouble.
And you're just seeing it again. You watch him run off the field, and he's just once again holding that arm down, and it has to be that left shoulder. And although it's not his throwing shoulder, it does throw it off. And I think you would have usually seen him release that, at least trying to throw it to his wide receiver or thrown it out of bounds. He decided to pump fake and got hit.
He has come off the field gingerly on that, as Hoff's kick will bounce and roll sideways to the 32-yard line. As you see, we're looking at on the sideline is Armitage talking to his quarterback's coach and trying to get things going as they're trying to figure out how to get this offense moving. But like you said, you've been looking at that left arm, and that may be getting him off kilter a bit. It is not his throwing arm, but in reality, you need to use both arms when you're setting up to throw. That left arm is kind of like your scope where you're going to throw. So now can Marietta get back into this game, down 14-3. The pass is intercepted, a second interception this time, and this one is picked up by Brenton Miller out of Carrollton, his second INT of the season. He stepped right in the way, and the Yellowjackets will come back out on the field with the football in great field position at the Marietta 30.
Well, and Brenton Miller, he got the big field goal block, and the other thing too is he's got that big cast wrapped on his hand, and that makes it a lot harder to catch the ball, and he still pulled it in for the INT. Well done by the linebacker.
He gets the defensive chain on the side for the big play, and you talk about that cast, looking at it. I mean, it is a heavy cast hand. His fingers are even taped up and stuff. As we're looking at the defensive coordinator down here, BW coming up with a big play. Now, the Yellowjackets will swing one out in motion to the near side. They hand the ball off to Murray. Murray finds a hole to the 20, spins his way to the 15. He's down to the 12-yard line. They're going to mark him down at the 11. Omo on the side of the Yellowjackets right now.
One with Armitage having some struggles in the last couple drives, this is just a time to just keep handing it off to Murray. He keeps just barreling forward. You know, you also have Perry as well. You could hand it off to either of them. You could also run the clock down as well as probably punch it in the end zone in this situation. 1st
and 10 at the 11-yard line. BW has an opportunity for another first down. They have two backs split in the backfield. Armitage is going to give the ball to Murray. Murray trying to find his way to the 10, got bottled up at the 10-yard line. And we're going to have a late flag thrown from the back judge, as we had some extracurriculars being made, and I think they're going to say, looked like the initial indication was going to be a face mask. Let's see what the penalty will be. Long time discussion on this play. Here comes the referee with the call.
Personal foul, hands to the face. Defense, number 36. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Brent McClure hands to the face the guilty party for Marietta. And that really puts them back in a bind. And it will be, they'll move the ball up to the 5-yard line. Or actually the 6, first and goal to go at the 6.
You know, I think we're just seeing some frustration from the Marietta defense because they've really kept their team in the game, and their offense hasn't been able to do anything, and they keep getting backed up, and with their backs against the wall, they've still kept it fairly close.
Perry and Murray are split in the backfield. They'll give it to Murray. Murray gets to the 5-yard line. Forward progress gets him to the 4. 7:05 remaining in the game. BW is up 14-3.
Well, and this is the second week in a row that the defense has really been able to keep them in a game. Against John Carroll, they only gave up those 23 points. They were right in that game. The offense just wasn't able to get it done even when they had the opportunity right at the end.
2nd and goal to go for BW at the 4-yard line. Murray will be to the right and a yard back of Armitage. Play action fake looking into the corner. The pass is no good. As that pass was intended for Ian Mitchell, he did come up with the catch, but was not able to get a foot down on the sideline.
Well, and it was in the same spot that you saw what happened for Marietta when they threw it over to Robert Nelson and pulled in the catch and just got pushed, and the foot just went a little wide. And you know, if any part of that foot touches the white line, then it's not a completed catch, and that's exactly what happened there, and the officials are just right on that to see.
6:29 remaining in the 4th quarter. BW up 14-3. Yellowjackets will have 2 in the backfield. Greer goes in motion. It'll be Armitage throwing, looking for Greer, and a great bat down there being made by number 21, Malik Greer, out of Huntington High School in Huntington, West Virginia. He came in there and just knocked that down at the last minute. Marietta still not going away, but the last 2 possessions by the Pioneers, they've thrown interceptions.
I mean, the defense for BW has been the better defense of this game, but Marietta's defense has proved that they have ability as well. And this is a win for them, forcing the Yellowjackets to a field goal. And again, they continue to keep their offense in the game, even though their offense hasn't been able to do anything.
Saris will have the ball spotted at the 11-yard line. It'll be a 21-yard chip shot. Kick is away. It was low. It got over the arms of the line, and it goes through. BW with a 17-3 lead. And you look at today's game, 17-3. What has been the difference in this game? 2 long passes by the Yellowjackets, which led to touchdowns.
Yeah, and that's really been it. I mean, the Yellowjackets have had some times where they've been able to chip away, but as soon as they start making some progress, a penalty or something else moves them back. So really only 2 big plays separate this game in that situation. And here's where Marietta really needs to step up to the call. You got 6 minutes left. You're only down 14. It's really time to play the no huddle and just hurry up and try to move down the field very quickly.
6:19 remaining. The Yellowjackets up 17-3. Yellowjackets coming into this game with a 5-1 record in the OAC, 6-1 overall, tied for second place with John Carroll. They're not looking ahead to next week with that John Carroll matchup, but boy, they have had a fight on their hands despite a 2-touchdown lead. This has not been easy. BW getting ready to send this one up in the air. It will be taken at the 6-yard line. Big, hard hit on Tate Perry. Boy, he got taken down. That is one of those plays that your gunners going down love to do.
Yeah, and that's Chris Burnside, the junior linebacker. He came up with a huge hit, and you know, for people who don't think special teams matters, it matters a lot. And that was a huge hit, and really kept Marietta from having a big return, kept them from getting in good field position, and it gives the defense something to work with.
6:12 remaining in the 4th quarter. McSweeney has thrown 2 straight interceptions. Going to throw again. Heavy rush, got hit as he released the football, and they're going to say that is an incompleted pass as McSweeney, holding his right arm, got tattooed in the backfield.
Yeah, McSweeney very fortunate that he was just barely moving his arm forward, and that's one of those where I don't know if he was even considering to release it yet, but he at least was moving his arm forward enough that the officials thought it was an incompleted pass, and they avoid disaster.
McSweeney will be probably looking forward to taking an ice bath after this game, after the amount of hits he has been taken by the defensive front 3 of BW. Looking to throw again, steps up in the pocket. He goes down again. Coming in to make the stop is Jake Schrock, and he is slow to get up.
Yeah, and Tyono Orocho was in there as well, and I mean, you saw McSweeney got hit by 2 guys, and it's been consistent. It's hard for a guy to stay healthy when he's been hit regularly through 4 quarters.
And you look at the defensive ends for BW, just putting that pressure from the outside constantly all afternoon long. And that time, McSweeney was trying to run the football and just got hit in a BW Yellowjacket sandwich as Ethan Brown is getting ready to warm up on that far sideline, as they still tend to Kyle McSweeney, the senior who played his high school ball at Garfield Heights Trinity. And slowly trying to come off the field, and the good thing is he's coming off on his own power.
Well, and you have to give McSweeney a lot of credit. He got hit hard. His helmet came off at the end of the 2nd quarter. It was probably questionable how well he was actually feeling after that hit. It was a huge hit, and then he comes back in for the 2nd half. He continues to stand in there and take the hits, and although this one does look like it is a lower injury, maybe his ankle or his leg, you know, wish the guy the best, and he definitely has a toughness about him and stands in there for his team.
He has had his eggs scrambled this afternoon by that BW defensive line. On the throw is Baldwin.
And that's Dan McCartney.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. Actually, no, you're right. I think it might be Baldwin. Right now,
Yeah.
we only have a wide receiver and a DB listed as number 4 on the roster.
Baldwin going to throw the football. Throws it to the far side. It is caught by Veach. And Veach just shy of the first down. And you look at Dre Baldwin.
Completion good for a pioneer first down.
Doesn't throw like your prototypical quarterback.
No, you can
can
tell
tell
that
he's a wide
He's
receiver.
a wide receiver, yeah. Expected to see Ethan Brown come back into this game.
On the sideline, McSweeney trying to take some steps. They give it to Tanner Clark. He finds a big hole. Second effort gets him inside the BW 40 to the 38-yard line, but the clock is not on their side. 5:13 remaining in the fourth quarter. Hurry up offense. BW leads it 17-3. And we're going to have a penalty and a timeout. Boy, Marietta got lucky because Rayshawn Stewart out of brush could have been called with an early step before the snap.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing with BW's pass rush we've talked about and how little time the quarterbacks have had, I almost don't know if it is the better decision or not to go with the wide receiver back there. I mean, you saw that Dre Baldwin, he can throw the ball. He doesn't throw it like the prototypical quarterback, like you said, but maybe having a smaller guy who's quick and some speed back there might save his life really in a situation of being pressured and being able to scramble and get out of that. So we'll see if the rest of the drive after this timeout, if they come out with the same players out there on the field, and it looks like Baldwin will return again, still at quarterback.
And Baldwin, no pass attempts coming into this game. They've got 5 in the stat sheet that has thrown the ball. 5:06 remaining. Dre Baldwin is going to run the football, and he gets taken down on a very good open field tackle by Josh Liberetti out of Lisbon.
Just talked about it again. Just the Yellowjackets, their speed and their wherewithal to know where the ball is and know where the quarterback's at has been relentless. And you saw it again there, and Baldwin was scrambling for his life and got pulled down from behind.
So now BW facing a 2nd down and 13. High snap, they give it to Clark. Clark trying to get to the outside, but 3 Yellowjackets carry him back to the 40-yard line. Boy, they are relentless this afternoon.
That they are, and I think this is a situation where, as you see McSweeney come back in, they're really still trying to go for this game, but the clock continues to kick down and wear down.
McSweeney is a gamer. 3rd down and 10 as McSweeney comes back out on the field. He has been manhandled all afternoon. Dre Baldwin, a freshman out of West Allegheny. High snap for McSweeney. Looks, and he is gonna be sacked again. Coming in is Tayano Orocho. Just when you think Marietta's gonna get that ball downfield, those 3 down linemen for the Yellowjackets coming up big again.
When you said it, I mean, McSweeney is a gamer. He's been knocked out of this game twice, and he continues to return. So no matter what pressure or how hard the Yellowjackets hit him, the guy continues to return and wants to fight for his team. And this is crucial on a 4th and 13.
This could be the ball game for Marietta as they need to pick up the 1st down. Stepping up in the pocket, intercepted for a 3rd time as that one is picked off by Liberati. And we've got a late flag thrown as McSweeney throws 3 interceptions on the day.
And McSweeney only had 7 interceptions all season coming into this game, and he's just been rattled and forced into making quick decisions, and another interception takes his total up to 10.
There was a late flag after the interception by BW. And the Yellowjackets will get the ball on another turnover. We'll wait to see what the flag is and what the infraction, as the defense and the defensive coordinator just really hooping and hollering here on the sideline.
Well, and you could see the turnover chain they have was being rattled around, and maybe you can hear that on the crowd mic as well, but that turnover chain has been put on several guys' shoulders tonight as the defense has really played almost a perfect game.
That they have. 2:53 remaining after the personal foul on Marietta. That moves the football up to the Marietta 48-yard line, and BW with a 14-point lead at 17-3. The defense of BW. That has been the big story today with 3 interceptions. Armitage out of the shotgun formation. He's going to hand the ball off. Murray fighting his way to the 45. You know, I like the way he keeps those legs churning. You think he's going to get stopped for a 2-yard, for a 2-yard gain or so? He turns it into a 4-yard gain.
Yeah, and you have to give him credit for that. I mean, you look at him, and certainly in the pads, you can tell that he's got a slim fit built to him, but at the same time, if he were to take off those pads, he's a very muscular built back, and it's just he's really worked on his craft, and he has himself built up to a position where he still has that speed, but he's also got the size and strength to barrel forward, and you see it as he keeps those legs churning.
Murray out of Cincinnati and Withrow High School. He'll get the football again, trying to find a block. Works his way inside the 45 to about the 43. Little extracurriculars after the whistle by Berzonski. He was battling Javon Megadichian.
You got Pat Simon, the guard down there, the senior, just hyping up the crowd.
You just gotta love OAC football.
Excuse me, Patrick Simon, a junior out of Olmsted Falls.
This has been one chippy game for both sides.
It has been. I think the Yellowjackets, obviously they've been excited. They've been hyped up all game. They've been playing pretty well, especially on the defensive side. And I think we mentioned it earlier. I think Marietta's defense, they've played really hard. They've tried to compete, and you mostly see the chippiness when their defense is out on the field. I think they're frustrated with how the game's going. They're fighting. They're playing as hard as they can, and no matter what they can do, it's just not quite enough for their offense because they can't put points up on the board.
And when you look at when Marietta is out there on offense, their offensive line is getting manhandled by the 3 down linemen of the Yellowjackets, who've put a lot of pressure on Kyle McSweeney, forcing him to throw 3 interceptions in the game. We're under 2 minutes in the game, and here in the 4th quarter, BW getting the football on 3rd down and 5 at the 43-yard line. Handoff. Nice block there for Murray. Springs him to the outside. Cuts at the numbers at the 30. Inside the 30-yard line to the 28. Great downfield blocking by the receivers and a huge first down.
And again, Murray just initiates contact. You see some speed backs would have bounced that to the outside, tried to pick up some yards on the outside. Murray said, no, I'm going to cut this in. I'm going to drop my shoulder into the chest of the defender. I'm going to drive him back a couple yards, and that's exactly what he did.
And that offensive line for BW is really fired up. You see more emotion out of that offensive line than you're seeing from the wide receivers and the backs.
Yeah, and that's not very often that you see that out of teams. And even with this Yellowjackets team, they've got a fiery offensive line, but it's impressive to see how excited they are today.
They open up another hole this time. It's for Sean Perry. He'll pick up a yard on the play, and a timeout will be called with 1:11 remaining in the 4th quarter.
Timeout, Marietta, the 2nd of the half.
1:11 remaining in the ball game. And Cole, this has been a very entertaining game.
Yeah, it has been. I think for people who love defense, this is a game for you. And it kind of goes back to, we can talk about the whole last Super Bowl and there weren't that many points. And a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't like this Super Bowl at all because there weren't many points. And I do have to say, at times maybe it was a little more boring. There weren't maybe as many turnovers. It wasn't quite like the game we're seeing here. But I think the thing with this situation is, good defense is also fun to watch. It's, if you really like the game, you like offense, you like defense, and you love to see, from the aspect of how hard the defense has played. They've gotten a lot of turnovers and they've been very physical in this game, and neither defense has stopped competing, and that's been great about this game.
Talking about defensive games, I had the opportunity to call the St. Ignatius game. That game 7-3. Some people that go to that game casually, they said, oh, it's kind of boring. But a guy like me who's seen those matchups for over 15 years, that was a great defensive battle. Defense, when you have two defenses like we had out here today playing so hard and making such influences out on the field, it makes it for a really fun game to watch.
Well, it does, and you see at all levels, people make the statement, defense wins championships. And if you have a great offense and you can put up big points, what your defense does is very important. I mean, you look at the D1 game as we're here in the timeout at the moment. You look at the D1 game, you look at the Ohio State Buckeyes down there in Columbus as well, and they can get it going with the offense, but that defense is really that stronghold. You have Chase Young, you have a bunch of really good pass rushers, and you're just good all the way around. And that's what separates teams in certain situations.
I love it when you get two high-powered offenses that can rack up the points, and these two teams can rack up the points, but defense on both sides made a statement. Granted, Marietta has given up 17 points, but those have been 17 hard-earned points by the Yellowjackets.
Yeah.
And the big difference, as we've talked about it, two big pass plays.
Exactly. They kept them contained really all day, and I think Marietta's defense will go back and look at the film, and overall, they'll be happy with what they did today. Just a couple breaks, and that's really it.
3rd down and 9 for the BW Yellowjackets. They'll put one in motion. That's Velasquez. Armitage gives the ball to Murray. Murray breaks a tackle to about the 22-yard line. And they may have to run one more play, if that.
Yeah, I would say run one more, I think.
Or just even drop a knee.
They could. They could do either in this situation. This game's pretty much all wrapped up. Either way, I think would be fine if they take the knee. Obviously, that's the sportsmanship way. I don't think Marietta would do anything to try to slow it down.
But it is 4th down and 3 to go.
Right, so I do think this is where you might just give it to Murray and see if he can pick up the first.
Armitage in the backfield out of the gun. They're setting up Murray for the run. He's going to pick up the 1st down and then some. And he gets out of bounds, but that will be the ball game. He picks up the 1st down, and all BW has to do is drop a knee.
Yeah, and you'd like to see Murray try to stay in bounds. I think he saw the end zone and was trying to hit pay dirt. He saw it, he came around the corner and just got tripped up from behind. But the running back immediately was going for the touchdown.
Credit that offensive line this afternoon. He only needed a couple of yards. He picks up the 1st down. BW doesn't even have to run a play. We have all zeros on the clock as BW defeats Marietta 17-3. BW goes to 6-1 on the year, waiting for their annual matchup with John Carroll next week.
Yeah, and that's huge for the Yellowjackets as they continue to get the wins, and it's important for them to continue to get the wins and just continue to improve. And although they had some struggles on offense today, you have to say that defense is maybe one of the best in the conference, and it's going to be hard for any team to go up against, especially when they get so much pressure on your quarterback.
BW with 283 yards in total offense to 278 for Marietta, so both teams held under 300 yards. BW 2 of 12 on 3rd down, 1 of 3 on 3rd down, and really just some good overall play. Armitage 12 of 22 for 166 with a touchdown pass. Murray goes over the 100-yard mark on 21 attempts. His longest gain of the day was 19. And the big receiver is Ian Mitchell, 3 catches for 71 yards. On the other side of the ledger for Marietta, Kyle McSweeney, 17 of 33 for 184 yards. He did throw 3 interceptions. Tanner Clark was held to 68 yards on 22 attempts. Andre Barker, boy, he was a big target today for Marietta. 9 catches, 127 yards.
Yeah, there are big things for the offense to look at, some things that they can improve on. Of course, Marietta played some good defense, so maybe it's part of the credit to them. But I say you just go back to the drawing board offensively and continue to work this week. And if defensively you can keep it up, you look at the game next week at Ohio Northern. You go up there and hope to take care of business, and you want to worry about that game and not look too far ahead, as in 2 weeks you have John Carroll here at home.
BW coming up with 6 sacks on the afternoon. That'll wrap things up here as BW wins this one 17-3 over a scrappy Marietta team. For Cole McDaniel, I'm Adam Mendoza. Thank you for joining us here on the BW Sports Network. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Yellowjackets come up with the win.